going on, guys? Welcome back to Poolside Chat. We are going live with a stream, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about this. We have been working on this for some time now, and I've got some really good matches that I think you guys are gonna love. You're gonna enjoy this one. Just a little bit of a backstory. I'm sure you guys know Lil Chris, famous YouTuber, amazing pool player. He's been helping me tremendously with all of my videos for quite a while now. And a couple of weeks ago, he just messaged me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in a coaching?" And coincidentally, it was on a Monday that I had the day off from another reason, and I was actually on the verge of going and take a nap, but Chris says, "Let's coach." I jumped on it. So we ended up talking for something silly, like 2.5 hours, going over my previous video on a USAPL 10 ball, and he wanted to work on a couple of things. So he worked with me for quite a while. I ended up having APA League that night, so I was playing Double Jeopardy, and I immediately took everything he told me, and we went right into that night, and it felt pretty good. So when we started talking about streaming and doing all of this, I was like, there's nobody better than to have the man himself, the coach, come on and actually work with me on this video. So you know what? I'm not gonna lie, this is awesome. I'm excited, and let's jump right into it. There we go. So with no further to deal with here, let's just dive right into this. You guys know him. Here we go. Lil Chris on the stream. Look at that smile. Worth $1 million, isn't it? Let's go ahead and unmute this guy. My bad. I'm still learning this OBS software.
Yeah, and you might want to check to make sure that your music has stopped playing.
You know, that would actually probably be another good a good thing. There's like 14 different buttons I gotta click on this stuff. You know, I'm just an amateur, guys. I'm not a professional. I'm learning as we go.
Exactly.
But you know, it's a ton of fun. So Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Todd. How are you doing?
I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous. This is a ton of fun. I know you've been working with me on this for a while, but there's so many things to dive into and discuss here. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, anything you want to tell the guys, or I'm sure most of the people are going to be watching this already know who you are, but if you want to give them a little intro of who you are, let's see what you got.
Well, sure. So I go by Lil Chris on YouTube. I'm a part-time hobbyist YouTuber. I've been doing this now for going on 5 years or so, because I've been playing pool for going on close to 27 years.
Yeah.
Not a professional by any means. I'm an amateur, just like Todd. I just love to play the game. And when I started my YouTube channel, I was, going to attempt to teach how to play pool, because when I played in my leagues as well, I have a bunch of amateur pool players that don't know how to play or don't know how to play as well as myself. So I was always teaching them, and anybody that also within my local pool halls wasn't as good as myself, they would ask me for advice. So efficiency comes to mind. For me as a software developer, I always think of what's the easiest way to do things, and that's where it's like, well, let me try this YouTube stuff. And come to find out, I got a little lucky. Gained some popularity, and Todd and I ended up hooking up because there was a segment on my channel where I was asking amateur pool players to send me videos of themselves playing a game of 8-ball. So I can see how they decide to break down patterns. If the camera's zoomed out enough, then hopefully I can see their mechanics. I can see how they approach the cue ball, all kinds of different stuff. And when Todd sent me his video, he was privileged enough that I had myself and my coach, Demetrius Gelatis from Pool Bootcamp, and Nate Mindham from the Queue It Up Network. The three of us were reviewing his match, and Demetrius was the best one of all three of us. His Fargo is like in the 720, 725, I think. My Fargo rate is currently a 650, and I think Nate is around a 680.
Yeah, sounds
so
right.
he was getting 3 different levels of advice And apparently he appreciated all the advice, and that actually fired up to start his YouTube channel. And so I've been watching almost all of his videos that he's been posting. I don't watch every one of them, but I do watch a lot of
I
them.
do put out a few. Yes.
But as Todd mentioned, there was one match in particular that I happened to watch to where I'm listening to his commentary, and there was a lot of shots that he decided to do where I just didn't particularly agree. I think there were better choices, because I never like to say that he made a wrong choice. He made
Sure.
a choice and he was able to make it work, but I just thought maybe there were some better choices.
Yeah.
And so, as he explained, I got him on a FaceTime call, and we actually went down and reviewed one of the matches that he posted. And I showed him. I asked him, like, what would you think if you did this? And he would give me his guess, and his guess would not be correct. So I knew that he was not familiar with moving the cue ball around the way that I was actually describing. And so 2 hours later, we
Yeah.
actually get it going. And then when he got on a table right afterwards, he found out real quick that what I was talking about works. And then so I pretty much said that after that, then maybe we should see if you actually apply
Hmm.
anything that I talked about in any of your future matches. And if you decide to publish them, I can actually join in and actually see if you actually apply
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
And I'm sure I still need to fix my fundamentals because I might not be quite to Lil Chris standards. But yeah, I mean, there was just that. I went there that night. I didn't even get anything out. I got my play cue out. There was a couple balls on the table. I put it up and just started hitting the ball a couple times, and I was just like, huh, well, okay there. And there's you probably won't see it in the videos here, but there was at least 3 different times that I would just, all right, line up the next shot and then just kind of start laughing to myself like, yep, well, there's one of them. Oh, well, there's another one. So it was quite comical for me. But anyway, no, yeah, Chris definitely inspired me because right around that time when you reviewed my video, it was during COVID. It was like, I want to say like July or something in 2020. I, like a lot of people in America, I was unemployed due to the pandemic, and luckily right around that time I put a valley in my basement, so my job was to sit downstairs and play pool. And I had the idea like, man, I should really start a YouTube channel, and I wanted to do like this whole get better with Todd and just kind of discuss what I'm doing, what I'm working on or whatever. And just like most people, you get a great idea and you just don't pull the trigger. And a year ago or whatever, I was telling the girlfriend about it, Michelle, and she was just like, whatever stopped you? And I don't know, I just never did it. I just never did it. And I finally had that, if you're not going to do it now, then when? And I was like, well, there we go. Let's just dive into it, and took off. I mean, I had a ton of people to help me out because this is definitely not something I learned by myself. But yeah, that's why we're dumb ref. I actually remember that review. Yeah, it was I watched that video probably 7,500 times, I bet, over the last 4 years. But
Yeah, but that was back when your YouTube channel was Toxis 8 Ball,
yes, it
not
was.
not not Poolside Chat.
No, I got a new brand name when I decided to do all that earlier this year. But yeah, you're right. That was it. So anyway, it looks like we've got a couple people in the chat. Got a few people that subscribe to both of us, which is awesome. Appreciate you guys. So you know what? What do you think? You want to dive into this one?
Let's do it.
We're gonna start with the kind of the orientation of the night. I started with APA 9 ball. I should also put out that I am playing John. He's been on the channel before, but he's a good buddy of mine. He's a teammate of mine. On our APAs, we're on different teams, but then the next night he plays on my USAPL team. He also plays on my next night BCA team. So he's a good shot. He's around like a 460, 470 Fargo. Older guy. You'll notice the one thing that is baffling to me is he's got the shakes, and it's not just his grip hand, but it's his bridge hand. And the fact that he can shake both hands and still accurately play pool, just dumbfounding to me. It's absolutely impressive. So anyway, I know John, I text him this stream. Hopefully he's watching. If not, I know him. He's going to watch it later, and we'll discuss it tomorrow night. But anyway, yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into this one. So starting with 9 ball. I'm an APA 8. John is an APA 6, which means that is a 65 to 46 race. And you basically, for anybody that doesn't play APA or isn't super familiar, in 9 ball, every ball you make is worth 1 point. The 9 ball is worth 2, and then you get the break. It is win or break, or whoever makes the 9 ball per se, I should say, gets the break. So I'm probably over here joking around with them, I'm sure. I'm gonna lag first right out of the gate. That's pretty good lag. Ooh. Just
Nicely
barely,
done.
I got it. So the pool hall we play at, we do have, I think it's 17 tables. 4 of them are diamonds that are right in the middle. And luckily this night we got to play on the diamonds. Definitely need to be refelted. You can see they're a little dirty. A little worn out right where you rack.
Looks like the table's not only dirty. This looks like a dirty rack.
It is the dirty rack. We followed another match, so we decided to save the dollar, I guess you'd say. Douglas, so in this format you can win a game and still win the match. So with APA, it's the first 2 your points, meaning in the middle of a rack, if I only need 63, John still needs like say 10 or whatever. If I get my 2 that puts me at 65, the game stops immediately, and that's where you're at. So right out of the gate, I'm sure you probably have something to say about that one. Definitely put some low left on that one to spin over. But if I remember correct here, we're going to play a little safety.
I like it. So far, so good.
Douglas, never win a game but win the match. Technically, yes. So especially if you're playing a much lower handicap, that would be very difficult from like an 8 to a 6. But if you put a low handicap, you put like a 2 on me and they only need 19 points. If they get 2 or 3 balls and if I'm getting 7 in a rack, I'm going to need more racks that they probably could hit their point. Yes. Again, yeah, they could never make a 9 ball, but still win the match because they got the points.
The other way of thinking about it that I think answers his question is, imagine if both of y'all were going to 65. If you were to run balls 1 through 8 and always miss the 9, and your opponent makes the 9, well, in that rack you won 8 points while your opponent only won 2 points.
But
now your opponent may have won the rack, but you are leading in the match. And if that were to keep up through every rack, you would end up winning the entire match without ever winning a single rack.
Right. So, and since we are talking some, let's go ahead and get the red dot going here. So what about you, Chris? How do you, if you have this shot right here, let's pause this right here. How would you want to handle getting from that 6 to the 7?
Well, I would actually want you to back up 2 shots.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Absolutely. Right here?
Okay. Yeah. So the thing, this is one thing that I think I've talked to you about before when it comes to how you review your matches for your audience versus how I review my matches for my audience. And I'm certainly not suggesting that you do the same thing that I do, but anytime I would think that you come to the table, the first thing you should be asking yourself is this table runnable? And it looks like it might be. Is that the 10 and the 11?
It is.
The 2 stripes?
Yep.
Okay, so the 10 ball, does it go in the corner pocket that you're hovering over, or does the 11 ball block it?
If you're going to that the pocket out by my grip hand, I want
Yeah.
to say it does, but it's real close.
Okay, so that's where things get tricky. So because if you realize that the rack is not runnable and you ask yourself why, it's going to be because of the transition from the 8 to the 10,
Hmm.
more than anything. And that goes to the question of, well, where can things go wrong? Where can things really go wrong? Because a short answer of, well, where could things go wrong? You could miss the 4. That's where things could go. You can miss any shot, right? That's where
Sure.
things can go wrong. But if you give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you can make the 4, you can make the 5, you can most likely make the 6, maybe even make the 7, you start to realize that going from the 7 to the 8 might be a little tricky with those 2 stripes being
Hmm.
there. And then you realize that going from the 8 to the 10 might really be tricky if the 11 ball blocks the position to go for the 10 to go into the what I'll call the upper left corner pocket because of the orientation of the table. So now that basically should start telling you, well, really, where do you want to be on the 6 ball in order to be able to easily get to the 7 ball?
Hmm.
And that also has for you to be able to figure out, well, where are you going to play this? Like, these are all the things that go through my mind when it comes to really trying to break down the rack. And when you answer that question, I would like to be here. Well, then now you have to backtrack, because where do you need to be on the 5 ball in order to get position on that 6 ball? And if you're able to break down the rack like this, it really starts to show you which shot is going to be the most important one. The one that you, of all the shots, this is the one that you're going to want to hit, because if you hit it, then more than likely you're going to be able to run the rack. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
absolutely.
So when it comes to, like, you end up running what you ended up running up. So let's go ahead and go to the 6 ball, right? Because really, I think you probably could have gotten a little bit better on the 6 ball.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like, from here, this gets a little tricky. To where, actually, I would ask you at this point right now, do you even before you shot the 5 ball, did you know where you want to play the 7 ball?
Uh, yeah, I was thinking still shoot it over to, and only because I don't have any other way of marking this. I was looking to shoot in this corner here.
Okay.
Because if I can get on would be the right side of the tangent line, which unfortunately I way overstroked that one. I was trying to get it where I can just hit it with like a bit of a stun shot, end up somewhere near this lower middle pocket for a cut on the 8. It was kind of where my mind was, but I definitely way overstroked that 6. So you know, had to play a bit of a recovery shot.
This is actually not a bad position to be in. I actually really liked the decision that you did there, because that goes to one of my next points, to where, like, if you determine that you cannot run this rack, like, it's too difficult, it's outside of your skill set,
Hmm.
when are you going to stop? There's got to be a point in time to where you know that you're going to stop.
Right.
And by doing so, now your thought patterns go from playing position for a shot to playing position for a safety, or you just end up having to default by playing a safety. So maybe because you didn't get the position that you wanted on the 7 as your opponent, it's a lucky shot on the 7. But
Okay, but can
it,
we just talk about his reaction to it, no less?
yeah,
I mean, just, and this is why I love this guy. I mean, throw his hands out like, oh, there we go. But anyway,
that's
sorry.
amazing. But the thing you got to realize, though, is that because you didn't hit the transition that you wanted, you end up opting to play a safety.
Right.
Eventually, you start to get to a point to go, and you start realizing, man, hitting this transition is so freaking hard that I might end up risking the table. And
Yeah,
so therefore, you don't even attempt to play position for a shot. You end up playing
that's a good
position
shot right
for
there.
a safety. So therefore, you can actually just end up controlling the table.
Yeah.
But John looks like he's doing a really good job here. I would hope that he's just going to back the cue ball up a little bit, and
Yeah, just
the
a little
last
stop
ball is going
shot.
to go into the. Oh my
Oh,
goodness!
he stopped it well. Just there was a
Yeah.
slight cut, and he was more worried about the hold than he was the pot.
Now stop it here, because
Okay.
What's one of the things that we talk? How are you going to play this versus one of the things that we talked about?
I
Because
mean,
this is a simple example before we even go into like
yeah.
further areas of the game.
So you could see, let me back up just ever so slightly, which I think I went too far there. You can see where I'm pointing my cue. That's where I'm trying to leave it. That's where my mind is envisioning to get the cue ball.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I'm hitting that from where we're at here, because there is a slight cut. So I'm hitting this with a little bit of top left just to basically roll fairly straight back out.
Okay.
That's the way I do it.
Okay. So again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody can agree that because you said left spin, that ends up being, or did you say right spin or
No,
left
top
spin?
left.
Are you sure that's correct?
Mm-hmm. Because and this is where we kind of were discussing in the coaching, with the top English, if I just use straight top, it's going to roll towards the long rail. I put just a slight bit of left just to hold it. That way I can still put it in a more rolling ball, but I'm hitting roughly about right here, that left, just to check it up so it isn't rolling and I'm not trying to shoot off of the rail is really the why I'm doing it. I'm not hitting, just a gentle rolling ball and trying to put it way over here, because then that's going to spin it towards the 11.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hit roughly about right there. Just kind of just to check up that forward, that continuing to roll towards the rail is
okay. So that's fair, and I get that. So the point that I was going to try to make here is that again, there's nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that decision.
Mhm.
I do, however, just see a slightly better decision because of the situation that we're in. And what I mean by that is because you're attempting to put any type of side spin on the shot, by definition, you are making the shot more complex. Would we
fair.
agree with that?
Sure.
Right? Because if I just ask you to make this ball, you can make the ball, especially since you're on the rail, right? You have no choice but to put top spin.
Right.
And then you're going to further complicate it by putting some type of spin. Doesn't matter if it's inside spin or outside spin.
Right.
So my question to you at this point is, if you just shot it with top spin, are you going to end up with a shot?
End up with a shot, absolutely. Like I said, I just think it might roll forward just a little bit, and I didn't want to end up on the rail again.
Right, but so this is where as a player you have to find your balance point here, because since you're putting outside spin, what are the odds that you can check it so hard that you end up having to shoot that last ball into the corner pocket instead because of the way it comes off the rail?
Yeah, if it just like
Devil's
completely
advocate
kills
here,
the speed.
That's all I'm doing is just devil's advocate here, to where if you accidentally put too much outside spin, you end up checking it so hard that the cue ball ends up rolling right towards the foot spot, and now you have to shoot the 11 ball into the corner pocket.
Sure.
Right, that's where things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't mean that it's necessarily like if your skill set allows you to do it, you know how much left's like. There's all kinds of different ways to look at it, right?
Yeah.
But the main point that I'm trying to make here is if you put topspin, just topspin, the only way you screw this up is if you hit too hard and the cue ball just rolls right past it.
Yeah.
So when you think about it like that, that's almost how you want to try to analyze roughly the majority of your shots.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely shots where you're gonna have to try to control the cue ball, and then there's definitely a lot of shots where you just have to make the darn ball, and you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about that, right? Because there's going to be a difference between how often am I going to see you stun a ball during this match, where all you had to do is probably just roll the ball, maybe with a little bit of side spin. So
probably not very many, because I mean I shot this almost perfect.
Okay, because that's what I want. That's what I want to preface your viewers with. Is that because that was the heart of the discussion, to where I saw that what Todd was doing, it was that he was controlling his cue ball on 90+% of his shots. And when I say controlling his cue ball, I'm referring to stunning his cue ball and drawing his cue ball, hitting somewhere near the center or hitting somewhere slightly below center.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes it work for the most part. And actually that was a way that I used to play all the time too. I used to always love hovering around center cue ball and just stunning my cue ball around. But as I've gotten older and I've gotten coaching myself, I'm now more acquainted to rolling my cue ball around when I see that it'll do exactly what I want to do.
Hmm.
And when you're rolling the cue ball around, everything is just so much easier. Everything is so much more controllable. And here's the best example I can give you why. When you lag, right? The lag is supposed to be the most controllable thing that you're going to end up doing on the table. You
Right.
just got to figure out how hard you're going to lag in order to get the cue ball back to the head rail as best you can. So the only thing you can mess up on your lag is speed control, is choosing the wrong power.
Yeah.
So, but when you're stunning your ball, when you're drawing your ball, you're really just guessing until you create the muscle memory or you have all the shots in your memory break as to how hard or how soft you actually have to hit the balls
Yeah.
in order to be able to make the ball and hit the transition as well. So I know I'm going on a long rant there, but I definitely wanted to bring that point home as to when you don't have to hardly do anything at all and you'll end up with everything that you want. You'll make the
Right.
shot and you'll have a decent shot on the next one, and it doesn't really require any type of control. So
Yeah.
like I said, I'm just curious how often situations like this are going to come up to where did you use side spin when you didn't need to, or
Right.
did you stun or draw your ball when you didn't need to either?
Mm. Knowing me, probably more than I needed. I know my game. So cue ball control sometimes says I needed to hear that too often, overdo it for not a good reason. Guilty, brother. Guilty. That is 100% my issue. And same with John. He's always trying to put way more effort into just making magic happen versus just nice, easy, and just roll it. So ended up
Now,
pretty close to where I marked.
so this is good, and he
He
gives you.
gave
But
it to me. Yeah.
do you see how close you end up? Go back to that shot real quick, or go back to where the cue ball landed, because everybody knows and understands this principle. And I know we currently don't have the ability to draw, but hopefully everybody should be able to visualize this. I think we all can see that if the cue ball lands anywhere in front of the bottom side pocket going towards the object ball, and then probably to the second diamond going to the object ball, you see the triangle landing zone that you can pretty much land in. And you're hitting the middle part of that landing zone, and you're coming across the middle part of
Yes.
that landing zone, which means you have very little margin of error. To where if you would have hit that just a tad bit too hard, just a tad bit too hard, you probably lost your shot now, because now your shot ends up being a super thin cut shot in order to go into the side pocket.
Yeah.
And if you do end up just really over rolling it, now you're going to end up shooting it into the top right corner pocket.
Yeah.
So this
Or
goes
you're having to
this
put way
goes
more spin or something to make something happen,
right.
lowering
So
your make percentage.
So this goes to my point that I'm talking about, to where if you would have just rolled it, you're generally going to be going in the same direction. Yes, you're going to be closer to the rail, but
Mhm.
you're going to be a much wider part of the zone, which means you have way more room for the margin of error. And when you think about it, if you wanted to land two diamonds from the short rail that you hit, like I mean,
Mhm.
if you imagine, can you put the red dot where the middle diamond is above the two innings? Can you imagine if your cue ball was right there, but even on the rail?
Oh, on the row, yeah.
Yeah, you're golden, right?
Yeah, still fine.
All you do is just roll the ball in.
Yeah.
And so, how much harder? How hard do you think you have to hit the shot that you just did just to land there with just topspin?
I
And then
mean,
think of the margin of error that you have, to where what happens if you land one diamond closer to the side pocket, or what happens if you land in the side pocket? You have shots for days
right,
at that point, unless you just massively overhit it. That's
right.
really the point that I'm trying to drive home here.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, he gave it to me. So we're going back to a
So
clean rack.
and you can still let it go on, because the real point that I'm also going to make is, if I were to ask you to shoot that shot 10 times, how many times are you going to land in the middle part of that zone? How big is what's called a scatter pattern,
Hmm.
and how close to your scatter pattern is going to be, versus if you were to just roll it with just top spin, you'll probably see that your scatter pattern is much smaller. And when you see that you have a small scatter pattern on a shot choice, then that probably will tell you that that is the better shot
Right.
to take, because you have way more control on that shot than you do the shot that you did.
Yeah, much higher accuracy. Another thing we discussed in the coaching was my rotation break, actually. So I wasn't doing quite as much power. I actually, as you can see here, I did bring it half or quarter to half diamond away from where I was, a little bit more inward. And I'm not doing any kind of crazy power, just trying to hit straight. But this was the first night. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm still a little bit of a cut break because it still goes to that left a little bit.
Well, for context, it's just because I was watching him break and I'm watching him stand up. He does a nice little, karate side kick, karate back kick, and and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? But at the same time, his cue ball didn't look consistent to me.
No,
Meaning
not at all.
meaning that when you look at your break, I always like to say that your break is no different than a shot.
Yeah.
Because when you think about a shot, what are you trying to do? You're trying to make the cue ball hit a very specific spot on the object ball, so that way the object ball can travel to a pocket. And then if you're transitioning the cue ball to another shot, you're hitting a very specific spot on the cue ball, so that way you can transition the cue ball to the next shot.
Right.
Well, how's that any different than a break? You're aiming at the one ball. You're going to try to hit a very specific spot on the one ball. You're going to try to move your cue ball to a very specific spot on the table after the break. All of
Yeah.
it means the same thing. So when you're watching your break and your cue ball is just going all over the place, well, then you've got zero control
Right.
on your break. And the advice that I gave to him was to slow it all down and break like you're shooting. And you also can realize real quick that you can generate more than enough power if you do that. But then, as you see, if your spreads aren't coming out well enough and you're not making a ball, well, then you just start figuring out how you can try to add just a little bit more oomph,
Yeah.
just to get the momentum going. Okay, pause. Where can things go wrong?
Fairly straight on it. So I mean, if I don't think I've got the angle where I get behind the 9, but um that would probably be the only thing. So if there is a slight cut, if you accidentally get behind the 9 for sure. Um, I know I need to roll forward, so I don't think I'm gonna be accidental stop shot.
So I'm guessing the 3 does go in the side.
It does.
Okay, so is this rack runnable? It's
Little bit of
it's
position play for the 8, but other than that, yes.
a little bit the position for the 8. So that where can things go wrong?
Oh, okay. I
Going
see.
going from the 7 to the 8. You just said so. You just said
Right.
it right there, right? So you've identified what should be known as the key transition. So you need to be on a very specific spot in a very specific position on the 7 ball in order to try to move the cue ball into a position where you can make the 8 and then be able to hold position for the 9.
Yeah.
So that means you need a move angle on the 7 ball and you need a hold angle on the 8 ball. So that way the 9 ball probably ends up going to the same pocket. Looks like it's going to be the top right pocket. I'm
Mhm.
guessing like where you're shooting the 2.
Yeah.
So now that ends up meaning when you shoot the 6 ball, which we can clearly see what pocket it's going to go into,
Sure.
if you landed flat on that 6 ball, is a stop shot going to give you a thin enough angle to move the cue ball to the 8?
Well,
This
possible. I mean, one thing and this was probably 3 weeks ago, I think, at this point, when
Mhm.
we had that coach in this night was I think if I remember correct, my plan was to cut the 3 into this low side pocket. Cue ball's going to naturally come out, give me an angle. So when I cut the 4 in, I was going to try to break open and separate that 8-9 because the other.
Why? You don't need to. That's complicating the table, and you don't need to. But go on. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that was really kind of the thought because, I think from anywhere on that side of the table, mid table, if I break those open, I can still make the 5. I can still hold for the 6. If I can just create a little bit of a separation, makes the run easier.
So just on that alone, like I said, if the 8 ball goes to a pocket, why disturb it?
Only
Right?
if it would make it easier to make, if it was a positional thing.
So like are you gonna try to move the 8 with the 4 ball, or are you trying to move it now?
No. I would make it after by making the 4 because I think the angle. I think I'm too straight on the 2. I don't think I can break it open here.
Okay, so think about what you just said here. You're going to shoot the 2, you're going to shoot the 3, you're going to use the 4 to bump into the 8 and the 9, which means your cue ball is going to be somewhere below the rack area, and look where the 5 ball is at.
Yeah. Right.
So you're talking about a 3/4 table length shot, and then you have to move to the next most important shot from the 5 to the 6, because you need the 6 becomes a very important shot to set you up for the 7.
Yes, it
And
does.
when you're doing almost a full table shot, like, it doesn't get any more complex. I know we're talking about a 7-foot table, but length is still length,
It is.
right? So that's where I would say, like, if the 8 ball doesn't, if the 8 ball can go somewhere, there's no reason. I don't think there's any reason to disturb it. That way, you can focus on moving from the 4 to the 5, getting
Okay.
the angle that you need from the 5 to the 6, and so on and so forth. If there's no real good reason that you need to disturb anything, the only thing you really need to focus on is cue ball execution
Yeah.
at that point.
Okay.
All right, go on.
Well, let's see how I can mess this up.
Now I can already see that you have too sharp of an angle.
On the 3, I didn't roll forward enough.
It's still doable. It's just that you have to probably hit this with some inside spin now to stay above the 4 ball, which again complicates the shot. And when you complicate the shot, you risk missing the shot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but in all honesty, who cares about missing that shot? What really matters is how you messed up on how the previous shot could have been better,
Mhm.
because you said so yourself. You didn't roll forward enough.
Right.
Right. So a lot of times, what players don't realize is that the shot that you miss is not the shot that you actually messed up on. Clearly, you could say, "Well, if I would have made the shot, everything would have been fine." But it's like, yeah, but you realize that if you'd have just made the previous shot better,
Mhm.
then the shot that you missed would have been easier.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so here we go. Second most important shot from the 5 to the 6, or third most important shot. Let's see how he handles it.
Ooh.
Okay, so far so good. Second
Good.
most important shot. What's the position he's going to put himself on the 7 that allows him to easily get to that 8 ball?
Yeah, he left himself a little bit square. He can't really roll forward, but he's got to punch it pretty firm to get to the other side.
Either one works. Either corner pocket's going to work from here.
Sure. Looks like he's hitting a little bit of high right.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I think this is just too thin now.
No, he made a great cut on the 7. Bumped the
And
9.
it
Just
worked.
unfortunately, it got behind the 8 ball.
It worked. It works. He's got a shot at it. He can work with this.
Oh, look at that!
And he
Look
made
at
it work.
that! Good shot.
Now, in theory, though, because I definitely don't want to take any away from this guy. This guy is shooting great.
Yeah.
But truth be told, we're watching him have to control his cue ball on every single solitary shot so far for this particular run out.
Yes.
And what happens when you're shooting one hard shot after another because you're having to control your cue ball on every single solitary shot? Unless you string together a good number of shots, you're just bound to miss.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened there. He could have made this 9 ball. That 9 ball is makeable.
Absolutely.
But think about it. Think about all the shots that he had to shoot. Look at that
Mhm.
thin cut shot on the 7. Look at the thin cut shot on the 8. Look at the
Yeah.
thin cut shot on the 9.
Yeah.
One hard shot after another. If we can just fix one of those shots, then that 9 ball becomes an easy shot at that point.
Right.
Did Corey dual break in here? What the heck?
I'm so focused on just trying to stay down. I'm not swinging for the fences. But I mean,
right. So I don't want to do this every single solitary time.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you pick the spots to where do you want to want to try to break it down here.
Okay. So even the shot like that was almost identical to the way we were talking how just using straight side spin, nothing,
Yep.
Let's see, we get on
Now, clearly, in a shot position like this, some bottom outside is probably needed here, right? So when I say I try to roll the majority of my shots around, the key word majority,
Yeah.
which means there's gonna be some where I just can't roll the cue ball around, and like
Hmm.
this would be one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no rolling forward on that one. So, and I think I went straight draw just because of the angle. I knew I was going to have to come over to this side of the three ball. Looks like I'm just hitting this as a straight center top. It's a rolling ball to get back. Oh, dogging
Whoops.
it.
I always say to every one of my teammates, misses are going to happen. Just
Oh, yeah.
you just brush them off.
Yep.
I know it sucks. I know it sucks that we missed, but if you didn't miss, you'd be on the pro tour.
Yeah. You wouldn't be allowed in APA. Oh, in dramatic
Whoa!
fashion. Wiping its feet on the way in. This is going to be kind of a tricky little conundrum with that 6, 7, 9, though. Because, I mean, I think he was just trying to bang the 4 in and just hoping something went. Because he didn't really seem to step aside and really kind of look at any angle.
Right.
So, but the good news is, I mean, left me kind of a hard transition from that 4 to the 5, or at least, I don't think I'm going to be able to draw all the way back necessarily to get on this side of the table. Douglas says he's playing a safe there off the 4 ball. I probably would have been looking at something for sure.
Definitely.
So I can see the edge of the 5, which means I got to be a jerk. Sorry, John.
Wait, so hold on. Time out. Time out. I really want to have a discussion on that particular topic. Why is playing safe being a jerk?
No, it's
It's dirty pool, or
no,
like,
no.
like,
No.
come on here.
I actually love playing safes. That's actually my favorite aspect of the game. It's just you always get that guy that screams dirty pool or
Yeah.
and I think it was either this one or another safe in the night. His wife was on the side and she's just saying, "Todd, that's not very nice," and I'm like, yeah, sorry, Tammy.
That's when you look at her and go, what? I just missed. I didn't know the cue ball was going to land over there, and you do, but
No, actually, more than any time, if somebody ever says that's mean or that's a jerk move, I just say thank you. Telling a pool player that they're an ass is a compliment. Let's be honest.
right.
That means I did a good job.
So it looks like we got Chuck from Backyard Billiards in the house here. What's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
For all the viewers that are already at least here watching and listening to me rant and here supporting Chad, just do us one good favor though and hit that thumbs up button
Yes,
on
thank you.
on the live stream. That would be really appreciative.
It helps me tremendously. Helps the algorithm, as they
Oh,
say.
hold up. I don't like this position you have on the 6 ball. Go back to the 5 ball.
Oh, let's okay.
What are we doing here? Actually, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to do this. You're supposed to pick the spots.
No. You're good, brother. You're good.
What happened here? Why don't I like the position on the 6 ball? If you have to go back and look at it.
I think I left myself.
I don't even like how you shot the 5 ball. Personally.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I do either.
Come on, what's the theme here, brother?
Yeah, that I still have a lot to learn is always the theme with me. Which is the reason I created YouTube, is to watch myself and question, why did you do that? That was not the right way.
Well, hold on. Remember, it's not that it was the wrong way.
There are better ways.
There are better ways.
Very fair. But no, I think just in general, I mean, yeah, I gave myself an angle so I could stun away from the 9 ball. But in general, I think I should have left myself a little bit more center table. I would say, oh, don't do it to me. There we go. I would probably say I'd rather be somewhere over here so I have more of an angle on the 6.
I'd say a little closer to the 5, and then a little closer to the rail.
Like over here?
The other rail.
Oh, up this way?
That's where I would place the ball in hand shot on the 5
Oh,
because it
correct.
becomes
Yes, yes, yes. I was talking about the leave of like you make the 5, where do you want to leave it? I would probably want to leave myself somewhere here, center table, to give myself an angle on the 6.
I'm not too much of a fan on that one because of the 6 ball being off of the side rail. I would rather, personally,
Mhm.
I would just rather be kind of parallel with the 6 ball, so that way I can just roll through it, hit the short rail, and then come up for the 7.
So give yourself a
Eh,
little closer to the side rail, just use straight
Or
top and roll it.
or just parallel. If you're just parallel with it, that means you have to cut the 6 ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So no matter what, your cue ball is going to go to the short rail. So the remember the closer to straight in without being straight in, the
Mhm.
easier it is for you to sink through the tangent line and get to that short rail rather quickly, and
Yeah.
then get position on the 7 ball. The reason because is, you land yourself anywhere near the middle of the table. Like if you can land where the 8 ball's at, that's almost perfect. But
Sure.
the 8 ball's there, so
Yeah.
you can't take the position. So anything above the 8 ball, anywhere near the middle of the table, means
Mhm.
you're probably going to have to put bottom spin on the
Gotcha.
ball. And again, in general, we want to try to only use bottom spin when we really have to. You're starting off with ball in hand. This should almost be a bunch of rolling spin shots,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, which means you have a high degree of success, a high probability of success, because you're just going to allow the cue ball to do what it naturally wants to do.
Sure. That
Right.
is one
So
thing I
right
for
here,
some reason.
you're drawing this cue ball, aren't you?
Yes.
Right, and you're drawing the cue ball from 3 quarters of the table. Don't you think even if you were going to draw the cue ball, wouldn't you want to be like in between the side pockets?
I mean, in a perfect world, absolutely. If I
Look
took more than 3/4 of a second to figure that out,
at this. What a shot.
see how easy that was?
Yeah. Now what? Now what? So
Do it
but the question
again.
but the question is going to be, set it up, and can you draw it right there again?
No, no, not at all. But isn't that what they say? Is I don't need to do it again. I did it this one time.
Correct.
No, I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase.
You did it when it counted.
Did it when it mattered. Bang Time Pool. What's going on, man? Another fellow YouTuber. Just like that. I got a little lucky on that 7 to the 8 though.
Even on the last shot, you shot it with draw, and all you had to do was just make the damn ball.
I like to hold balls. I like to just stop it. I know. No, there was no reason
There you go. Somebody clip that. Todd likes to hold balls. There we go. You've got the viral clip right there. That's all she wrote.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Stream is done. We're done here. I am quitting YouTube after that. Oh my god, that's absolutely hilarious.
But right now you're shooting magnificent. We got to work on that break though. I don't think you've made a ball on the break yet.
Yeah, no, definitely I haven't. There's a couple reasons for it. This table truly does not rack well. You can even see where the dirt on the table. It is very tough to get a good rack. And I don't blame him by any means, but like I said, John has the shakes, so it's very tough for him to get a very tight rack.
Sure.
So again, I'm not blaming him. I love the guy, but it's just a factor, so. But
Look at that.
didn't have a shot, so I played a nice little safe.
We've already established that was a jerk move, so that's all it is for tonight. You're not allowed to play safes, dude. Just run out.
Nope. Somebody once told me, if you don't have an out, find a time to play safe, Ooh.
That sounds like some solid advice.
We'll see if it works for me, though. Let's start with that. So I'm double checking here, just see, because I think what I'm envisioning is cut the 1 into to the side pocket and be able to 2 rail around the 2 to make the 2 and right behind that 9 ball, which I ended up not getting behind it.
I didn't see that. I figured if anything you were going to be on this side of the 2 ball here, which is no big deal.
Yeah.
kind of a jerk move are you going to do here?
Uh, I mean, there's definitely some safe options, but if
Nah, you're going to go aggressive, aren't you? The nine ball makes that pocket so much bigger. So are
it
you going to
does,
bank
just a
it back
reverse
there, or
bank it.
are you going to cut it? No, you don't know.
No, I don't know. That's why I'm looking at it. And even in commentary, and I've said this in quite a few of my videos, I don't review my videos right after they happen. So it's not like something I'm thinking like, oh, here's what I was thinking. I do it more in a, well, this is what I should do.
Golly, I don't know if that was a jerk move. That was an a-hole move.
It really was.
Golly.
That that was the move. I remember that was the shot that I did it again, and his wife just yelled at me. She's like, "That was a very nice, Todd." I was like, "Thank you,
Golly.
thank you. That's a compliment." Because that is
That's
a very bad place to be for that two ball.
that's just sick.
Because he's real close to the five. I mean, you'd have to have a ton of masse spin to get to that long rail over there. Yeah, I think he's looking at two rail here, which
See, so this is a strategy that I don't see happen a whole lot, especially in the APA or almost any type of league, really.
Mhm.
Because the difficulty of hitting that two ball, and even if you do hit the two ball, it's almost still like you're expecting to hit the two ball and just get so lucky that you don't sell out.
right.
So if I think about this in like regular, quote unquote, regular nine ball,
Mhm.
my move is probably going to be to, and mind you, I can still mess this up too, but I'm going to try to shoot that five ball next to the six. I'm gonna create a hard table layout for you. So yeah, you
I'll
might be
give
able
you
to
ball in
grab the
hand, but
yeah, you might grab the two ball, you might grab the 3-7 combination and the three and the four. But if I tied up that five and the six, then I might come back to the table
you're right.
because if he doesn't hit this ball, unless something magical happens like that,
Right.
unless you're going to take the 2-8 combination, unless something like if the eight didn't tie up, he might not be coming back to the table.
Right.
I guess the
Yeah,
combos
that
out
is
there
definitely a
is going to be
shot
that
that
they're safe.
I talk to my teammates about that I don't
Ooh,
personally execute quite often is just tie up their balls, give them, sure, I'll give you ball in hand, but it takes away their run out or they got to
yep.
work to get out.
They'll grab a few points, but they won't grab the table.
Right. Backyard says he likes the cut break.
Let's see here. What is John going to do? Both the two ball and the eight ball are going to be flying, I bet.
Do you know him? Have you met him before? Because that's pretty
I
accurate.
I'm just going off of a
Yeah.
statistic of what I see even most sixes in my area, like what they'll do.
Yeah.
It looks like he tried to make the. It looks like he tried to billiard the eight ball in.
I think he was.
That wasn't a bad choice.
So I think I'm probably gonna be make the two, but don't hit it too hard and try to hold behind the three.
That's a good shot. You gonna end the rack now, or are you gonna try to grab points?
Knowing me, I'm gonna try to grab points if I can. I mean, if they're on a situation like this with that back cut on the three, I really got to move the cue ball around the table to get a shot on the four. So there might be a time if I honestly don't remember what I did here, but there would be a time like this that I'm like, that is way too much work to try to get back to run the rest of the table. I might just say, you know what? I'm just gonna go and combo that 3-9 and just be done with it.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
You saw that. You can even see it in my body language right there. Like, all right, whatever. And I just kind of dropped down like, but I might have hit that a little firm. Just a little firm. I don't know why I hit that so hard, but
The common rule is because you don't want the nine ball to stay in the pocket.
yeah, right.
But if you still hit it harder than you quote unquote should, you risk missing the
Yep.
9 ball.
Yeah.
So you got to find the balance. You got to find the balance. Let's see here.
He's probably just gonna worry about make it and then just force the 5-7 combo, I bet. Oh no. He hit that really firm too. Double check and make sure I can even get where I need. But same kind of thing. I think I am gonna just try to force that 5-7 combo and just be delicate with it. Oh, try to move it open. Oh, look at this.
Did you
Scratched.
have did you have inside spin on that shot? I would think you
It
had
looks
to
like I
have had
put just a
inside.
little bit of top right. Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
I did. I went
you
right trying to break it open.
and you didn't need to. You didn't need to. You said so yourself. Play the 5-7 combination, and if you'd
Yep.
have just rolled, if you'd have just cut the ball in, you'd have had the 5-7 combination.
Right?
Now this is smart. I like this.
Give yourself a little angle, get the cue ball back out just in case the 5 moves.
Because of that,
Yep.
because if the 5 ball moves, if he would have stayed straight in and done the 5-7 combination, and that would have happened, he would not have had a shot on the 5 ball. So
I
that
see
was
that.
really smart.
I see
That
that
was really
too
smart.
many times. Do people try to get that shoot the combo and then they just hit it too hard and then that 5 rolls out and then they're like, "Oh, well, what'd you think the 5 was going to do when it back cuts the 7?" Like, it's got to go that direction. So work the cue ball so it does it. Goes with it. Ooh,
Oh, why
did
did
he
he hit
break
this
it
so
open?
hard?
That was
But
a
it
good
worked
shot.
out.
So I think there's a theme here. This is just a nice, easy rolling shot. Ooh, just
Yep,
barely missed it though.
that's just aiming issues at that point.
That one was, yep.
Just didn't aim correctly. Which again, that's just gonna happen. It sucks, but
Hey,
it happens.
that's amateur pool, man.
Very nice.
Straight center ball, just let her roll. But then I want to be able to stop the 9. There
That
you
I mean,
go.
you're flat
That
on
one
you're
you have
flat on
to.
the ball there. So like you definitely have to have it there.
Yeah.
The other shot you had an angle and it wasn't even necessary.
But it shows your opponent you can control it, and it's an intimidation, right?
Yeah, especially when you miss. Definitely intimidating.
Right. All right.
So far, so good though. 30, you need 39 to hit. You're losing. He only needs 34.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the other aspect of APA. You look at the score and you think on paper, Todd's winning.
Oh,
Todd's actually
I'm
losing
up by
right.
14. Doesn't matter.
Yep, Todd's actually losing right now. He's still down a few points.
Yeah. All right. We are back. Looks like the other match on the other table changed over. So I was probably telling them who we're putting up or something changing there. And yet again, I think another dry break.
Yeah, good spreads, but we're not really making anything. The other thing that you got to consider, specifically since you're using triangle racks, and this is regardless if your opponent has the shakes or not. Triangle racks is just not guaranteed to give you anything at
Right.
all, really. So the best ball that you can actually focus on is the 1 ball. And that's where you try to cut the 1 ball a certain way to get it to go into the side pocket. That's your most probable shot
Yeah.
that you can do. Anything else after that is going to be luck.
Yeah.
Now it looks like John finally decided to be a jerk back, so good for him. He needed to.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's something I've been trying to work with him on quite a bit is just because you see a ball can be made doesn't mean you need to shoot it.
Yep. Hope you don't scratch.
Hit it full enough. I hit it full enough.
Well, I knew you're going to be tracking towards that corner,
Oh
so
yeah. Which, with that said, there was a match that went up. What would that have been? Probably Monday this last week. When I played a guy, John, I left him, I saved him on two different occasions with that same thing where he's going to have to kick behind it. And this guy ripped it at it, first off, at Mach 3.5. But when he did, he hit it with some, it would have been like low outside and just completely held the cue ball in the most, I mean, trick shot kind of way. It was an impressive couple shots.
can we go back to the previous shot here?
Yeah.
Where he billiarded the six ball in. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But go ahead and pause. Again, we can't draw anything, but I think I can describe this to where you can visualize everything that's going to happen here. Because whether or not if the six ball was intentional,
Hmm.
it can be intentional. To me, it looks like the two ball was the actual important part, and he actually just maybe got lucky on the six. But when you're thinking about a billiard shot like this, and you want the six ball to be intentional, there's actually a fairly accurate measuring system that allows you to do this, and that's going to be this: pretend that the cue ball is the two ball, the two ball is the cue ball,
Okay.
and you want to and you want to shoot straight into the six in order to go into the pocket. Right, so it's a normal shot. You're going to just shoot the two into the six and do a combo. So what you have to visualize though is this that shot line, right? There's a line that goes into the two ball, and then that line exits the two ball as it goes to the six. So
Hmm.
hopefully everybody's following there.
Hmm.
Where that line exits the two ball, that's where you're going to aim your cue ball at. You might not be able to see it because it's on the other side of the two ball from now when we're looking at it from the cue ball's perspective.
Right.
The spot that you need to hit is not visible from the cue ball, but you're going to aim at it with a rolling cue ball.
Yeah.
And that's gonna allow you to cut the two ball in a certain way, and your cue ball is gonna roll through. And more times than not, you're going to run into the six ball, but with a high probability of being able to billiard into the six to make the win. So essentially, what you're looking for is you create a combination with the object ball that you're going to billiard off of, and you look at the shot line that comes out of the first object ball, and that's that spot where the line comes out of the object ball. That's where you aim your cue ball with a rolling cue ball. And in this case here, because the two and the six are fairly close together, you don't want to hit too hard because you need to make sure that the cue ball sinks through the tangent line and rolls above it in order to run into the six. So I hope that makes sense. But
Yeah. I
you'll
follow.
find that if you try something like that, you'll find how accurate you are at billiarding into another object ball with just a rolling cue ball. See, I have to believe there he was going for the two ball and
I
luckily gets the six, or maybe he was going for both. Like he wanted to make the two ball and he knew that he was going to hit the six, but he's
Yeah.
intending on making the two ball.
Yeah, and I think I'm with you. I think he intended to make the two. The problem is if you watch the way the cue ball comes off that six, if he makes that two, he's going to miss the six, and that six very easily could just sit right in his way. So if the two goes, he wouldn't even be able to see the three right now.
Right. So that's where
So
it's like,
the
which one are
billiard
you
would be
trying to
the smarter
do?
move.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
But
you off there.
nope, this works out though because the two ball landed in the pocket, so he's
Yeah,
got good control of the table here. Three balls in the pocket that he's shooting over.
He's rolling it. That's going to take. Okay, he could hit thin enough then. Okay, I don't want him to get too thick and roll into the table, and now the seven ball's blocking it. Nice rolling ball. A little love kiss off the nine ball. Little over the five, which makes it very difficult for him. Oh, good shot. Made it and just avoided the scratch. So from here, you could just, if you just hit this in a rolling ball, make that 5, you should have enough power to get around the 8 and have a good shot on the 7. Just
Good
like that.
shot.
Good shot. And little bump off the rail, little breathing room.
See, so unless I'm mistaken here, what I'm seeing here though is good shooting,
Mhm.
but I'm not necessarily seeing good planning. Meaning that he shot the 5 ball knowing that he's going to get position on the 7
Ooh,
ball, but probably didn't know that that was the position that he was going to get on the 7 ball. And when you want to go from 6 to 7 to 7 to 8, you definitely want to have in mind how you're going to shoot that next ball. And that is a very specific spot that you're
yeah.
going to be trying to transition the cue ball to, rather than generically allowing the cue ball to move and just say to yourself, oh, I know I'm going to end up with a shot.
Yeah. The 8 goes anywhere. I'm gonna be fine. That's not the way you want to shoot that.
That's typically what I've seen. Um, from other players to where they play a very generic type of shot. And this is also shows you to where you kind of have this idea that they're not really planning X number of balls ahead, depending upon the skill level. A lot of times it's just one ball ahead. I'm
Right.
going to play this shot. I know the cue ball is going to go over in this area. And if it lands in this area that I think it's going to land, as you get super lucky on that, what the heck was that? Then you know you're going to have some sort of, shot. But then the moment you land on the next ball, you now realize, oh, now I got to shoot this and shoot this way to get on the next ball, and you're really just doing one ball at a time.
Right.
Versus the typical phrase that you hear is think 3 balls ahead.
Right.
So in order to think 3 balls ahead, you would end up playing very specific positions in order to try to move the cue ball around easier to get each one of those positions.
Yeah, and to add to that, the I know a lot of people will think 3 balls ahead, but the thing is they only think those 3. So they shoot the 1 to make the 2 to make the 3. Then they try to start over. And there's
Correct.
a lot of times you can make the 1 and you get a little out of shape, something's just not quite right, and you just got to start over and start with a new pattern, new thought process, just pull a GPS move and recalculate. So just because the plan was to shoot the 2 in the side, no, you got to start over because we're in a different position now. So, but hey, look at this. I made a ball on the break. There we
Finally.
go. So there.
But I did notice that on this particular break, though, it was a very flat break, meaning that you hit the head ball pretty straight
Mhm.
from the approach angle that you were intending on, and by doing so, you're not going to make the one ball on the side. In order to make the one on the side, you're gonna have to do some sort of a cut break. Hey,
Or an
that
intentional
looks pretty
carom.
that looked pretty good. Billiard. The proper term
Billiard,
is
excuse me.
billiard.
Yeah.
I used to think billiard and carom were interchangeable as well, but they have
Yeah,
two distinct definitions.
they are. But no, that one was absolutely intentional because, like you said, I knew I couldn't back cut it. I wasn't trying to, carom the 1 off the 9 to go on the side or anything. So that was
So
the intended shot.
So that particular shot, though, was that kind of an educated guess on how to hit it? Because
Yeah.
you played the billiard shot, so
Hmm.
that's where I would challenge you to try that measuring system that I talked about, where you aim
Yeah.
at the exit point of the shot line of the combination.
Do you have a video on that?
I do not, but I do know there's a couple there are already a couple out there.
Are there? Okay.
Eventually, when I get my table in my new home, I'll probably remake a bunch of videos that I made on my old 8 foot table, and that'll probably be somewhere in the mix of it.
Yeah. Because your new table's 9 foot, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. Went for the hero shot on that one. I definitely
Cuba
was in
are
run
really
out
good.
mode and just trying to gain some ground.
Like here, it looks like the 9 ball is makeable.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's gonna try it though.
Yeah, so it looks like he was trying to. I couldn't tell if he was going for a bank or a safe. By his speed, I'm gonna say he was going for a safe.
Now here's where that system just would not work. You'd end up rolling right past the 9 ball. If you were intending on trying to make the 9 ball here, you definitely would have to try to stun into the 9 ball or draw into the 9 ball.
Sure.
Hey, good shot. I'm assuming that 9 does go in the side after you bumped
Yeah.
into it already because it was on the other side of the side pocket.
Looks like there's a little bit of a shadow on the white that I think there is enough of a breathing room there.
There we go. There's a nice rolling shot. Oh, look, you're going to do the same exact thing and roll right to the middle of the table. This is the theme. Top spin, maybe a touch of outside spin, so that way you
Yeah.
can come right back towards the middle of the table. And you can pretty much do the same thing on the 7 ball.
Exactly. Yeah. Something about right there. Just slight bit of left just to move a little, but nothing crazy.
Look how soft you hit the ball, just so you can land right in the middle of the table. And for all intents and purposes, you don't even need side spin on this one. Just make the ball.
Yeah.
Too good. Too good.
There we go. Definitely needed to get these points though. Nice and
Nicely
easy.
done.
There we go.
All right,
Now,
so that puts you at 27 while he's at 27 as well. It's a tie game.
26.
26. I'm sorry. You're up
26.
by one. You're up by one. 26
One
to
whole
27.
ball. Let's see if that same break can come back though. That'd be nice. Little bit of an accidental cut break. Still came a little off the left.
Rewind that. This goes to show you. This goes to show you what triangle racking can do. You're on your left side of the table, and if you're gonna end up smacking that 1 ball straight on, it's gonna be somewhere to the left. But not
Yes.
only do you not hit the 1 ball straight on from where you're at, you actually cut it slightly to the left. That's why
Yes.
your cue ball goes over to the side rail. Rewind it one more time because look where the 1 ball
Yeah.
goes.
No, the 1 ball followed it.
The 1 ball is not supposed to go in that direction.
Yeah, because
by any means of physics, that 1 ball is not supposed to go in that direction. Look at that. What is that all about? That's what triangle racking does to you.
right.
But
Good
it worked
worn
out.
out triangles.
It worked out. Lord knows what kind of gaps could have been in that rack in order
Oh, I
to
know.
cause that type of reaction.
Right. Backyard billiards. People think that 3 balls ahead means object balls, but it really means cue ball position.
It's actually a good point.
Very good point. I think the way I'm looking at it, the 1 ball does not clear the 3. So that's why I think I'm trying to go rail first into the 1, then the billiard the 3.
Oh, that's a cool shot.
When you make it, maybe. Only good news is it's left him close to a rail, and that's kind of long. So let's see what he can bring out here. Table's pretty well wide open though. Oh.
Okay, looks like a 5-9 combination in the future.
1 ball actually rolled when he pulled the rack off. Oh, okay.
That might have been the culprit then
Yeah.
that caused that type of reaction then.
We definitely know it wasn't a tight rack for sure.
Right. And not intentional either. I
No.
just still have to I
No.
just still have to point it out. I'm spoiled by template racks, which is the way I think it should be.
Yes, I agree. Look at that.
Oh, look at the luck ball. We can't even say it's APA at this
No,
point.
that's just 9 ball.
That's just 9 ball.
Yep. So I should actually tell a funny story with John that before he was one of my teammates, and we're just, we're still buddies, whatever. We're getting ready to play in a weekend tournament, and we're just lipping off to each other like we do, whatever. And so we decided just run a quick set of 3, and I gave him one on the wire for $20 just as a little warm up. And if I remember, I think he beat me 2-1, whatever it was. And so I gave him $20, and he goes, no. I want you to sign this. So I had to grab a pen, sign the $20 bill, and this guy has it folded up, rolled in his wallet behind his ID, and has had that $20 bill for about 5 years now. Absolutely
awesome.
hilarious.
That is awesome.
And just to add to it, he even got pulled over one time, and he gave the cop his ID with the $20 stuck to the back of it. And he's like, so he's like, are you trying to bribe me? And he's like, oh, no, I'm not. I need that $20 back. That's worth way more than 20 to me. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Well, now you're a YouTuber, so that $20 is more valuable.
Yeah.
with your autograph on it.
Yeah, right. I'll frame it for him for Christmas.
There you go.
He's talking about getting a 9-foot diamond in his barn. I was like, well, if that's the case, you need to frame that. Oh, look at that.
Whoops.
It wasn't wired. You saw I had to back cut the 5 a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Overdid it. Charivari coin plan to the correct side of the line 3 balls ahead.
That's, to be fair, that's not always true either. Because that goes back to the conversation of move angles versus hold angles. Because you can be on the correct side of the line for the object ball, but if you're close to straight in but on the correct side, you kind of have a hold angle, and you have to force the cue ball to get to where you need to get to. Versus, I thought he was going to scratch.
I did too.
Versus being on the correct side with a move angle to where you can easily move around. So there's a little bit more finer details than to just being on the correct side. Oh, what the heck happened there?
So if you look at it, let's back up just a smidge. First off, super lucky to barely get that point. So the 7's a little off the rail. He was trying, because it's so flat, if you try to just make it, you got to put some serious power to make that, to be able to see the 9. So he's going rail first, and he just went way too forward on it.
No, I don't even think that's necessary. I think he could have just made the ball with some top left spin, so that way he can get to the long rail and then just come back out. I don't think the rail first was even necessary. The rail first was overkill.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that rolling shot.
Not too shabby.
Just makes it so easy.
Hey, sit down, John.
At least you rolled that one, and I thought you were going to draw that one to the side rail.
You don't want me to hit low outside and make you spin 2 rails like the pros?
Yeah.
Like every winning 9 or 10 ball or 8 ball you see, they just pound that last ball, spin it around. That is not me, that's for sure.
Oh, gee whiz. Well, at least you made a ball.
I mean, you could almost just feel the thud.
Unfortunate rule with APA is that there's no push out after the break here. So like you have to try to hit this one ball, which means you're running the risk of giving ball in hand.
Yeah, and to a point, I actually agree with their reasoning, because they say it would benefit the higher skill levels, because we would understand how and why to push in different areas versus lower handicaps wouldn't. So, as a 8 or a 9 playing a 2, we can push out and play a little bit more beneficial.
Foul. But my argument to that is that the APA system is designed for everybody to get better, specifically to the point to where that way teams can actually break up, and then you end up bringing more players in. Like that's just the business of the APA, and I've got no objection to that. But when they're talking about how the higher ranking players can have the advantage over the lower ranking players, they're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, a minority of matches that actually occur, right? Because
Right.
when a five plays a four, who cares that a push is supposed to give the five the better? The four has just as much of an advantage as the five does.
Absolutely.
When a four plays a two, as far as I'm concerned, it's still the same. It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
If a five plays a two, now I can see where the
Ooh.
five being able to push might have the advantage, because the two is probably going to be oblivious
Right.
to how to actually play a decent push shot. But how often is a five playing a two? How often? It happens,
Sure.
but
Sure.
how often does it happen? I don't think it happens as often enough to
No.
basically say, well, that's why we don't want to do it, because it just gives the higher ranking player too much of the advantage.
It's
Like,
definitely
come
not
on,
in the majority. No. At
come
least,
on.
especially not in my area. More times than not, we run similar handicaps, give or take one for the most case.
Yeah.
You know.
I get it. I get it that it happens. I mean, heck, we just saw that there was the APA 9-ball championship where a two took down a nine. Like, I get it for the championship too.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that was
it's
like, my
happened. Yeah.
goodness. And the two managed to beat the nine. My goodness. But at the
David
same
took
time,
down Goliath, as
yeah.
their ad
But
always says.
at the same time, I would sit there and argue, like, well, doesn't that also help the lower ranking player to learn how
Yeah.
to do stuff like that? So, like, I think it's a win-win
I think I
situation.
way overstroked that one.
Looks like you did, but I would think that the push out is a win-win situation,
Yeah.
regardless of what your skill level is. Or I would argue that it has more of a win-win situation for both players than to argue that it benefits the higher
Right.
ranking player more.
Yeah. Ooh. Lucky the five still goes on the side, but that was. I'm willing to bet that wasn't his intention.
Yep.
Especially now that that seven is in a bad way.
He's going to try to draw into it, looks like.
Yep.
Yep. See what, and this is another thing that's always so funny when you think about the secondary objective over the primary objective. Primary objective is usually to make the darn ball,
Correct.
and then the secondary objective is going to be to get position on the next shot, or in this case, break out the next shot
Yep.
or break out the next ball in order to get to the next shot. And you end up putting so much emphasis on the secondary objective that you end up missing the primary objective.
I think I miscued that one a little bit or something. I don't know what that was. That was terrible. Yeah, I always on those situations, anytime that you miss the main shot, I always joke with my team or my friends. I'm always like, yeah, step one, get your shape. Step two, make the ball. Like just
Yep.
as a sarcasm of, yeah, you did that wrong. You did that backwards. Oh, went for the breakout. Somehow got around it too. Now the question is how many reverse bank to get the breakout too.
Now, definitely saw that move coming there.
Yeah. Reverse the order. John's going to try to reverse bank that and break that open.
This looks like a pretty good three railer. I don't
Oh,
think
three row behind it.
I think the 9-ball blocks the, yeah, like, well, I was gonna say I think that the 9-ball blocks the two railer, but a three railer looked pretty good to be able to hit the five.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like this.
No?
Nope. And you made it work, but
Not great.
you didn't really get rewarded for it. So let's go
Right.
back. Okay. So again, I'm not arguing that you did anything wrong,
Sure.
and it's also hard for me to argue that what I'm about to suggest would even be better.
Okay.
But we all know and understand that you could have messed this up by stunning or drawing too much and completely miss the breakout.
Mhm.
Because that's essentially what you're trying to do, right? You have to stun into the 7 and the 8, and you're trying to hope that you stun into it in such a way that you end up having a shot on the 7. That's pretty much what you're trying to do.
Yes.
And because you're trying to do a stun, that means you are trying to put slight below center
Mhm.
on the cue ball, which means things can go wrong, and you can draw behind you can accidentally draw the ball and miss the cluster altogether.
Yes.
Right? We all agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you were to put the cue ball like maybe in between the 5 and the 9, you might have to slightly elevate it or whatever. But or even parallel to the 9 ball in between the side rails, you can just cut the ball in, and you're going to run into that 7 ball no matter what. Now the thing is I don't know if you're going to have a shot. That's the only unknown that I'm aware of. But there's really no way. There's really almost no way to mess it up. Like if you were to put the cue ball on the other side of the 9 ball to where you have to back cut the 5 ball, you're running into the cluster.
So
Like you can even come a little
something like
closer to the
this?
5. Yeah, you can even come a little closer to the 5 ball if you want to try to get. Yeah, it's like something like that to where like you don't want to make the back cut too thin,
Right.
and you don't really want to put yourself in a position where you have to bridge over the 9 ball either.
Right.
But at almost at any one of these angles right here, you're guaranteed to run into the cluster. You can't mess it up. There's no way to mess it up. As long as you roll through, because at this point here, now you're not stunning into it. The cue ball is just going to roll over there.
Right.
So the only unknown to me is the shot that you're going to have afterwards. So that's
Yeah.
all that I wanted to. That's all that I really wanted to point out there.
Yeah, I definitely should get myself more of an angle to, but yeah,
Because in that case, you actually ran into the 8 ball,
I did.
which isn't what you wanted. If you would have ran into the 7 ball, that probably would have knocked it loose, and you probably would have been able to have a shot at it.
Yeah, definitely better chance at it.
Oh, oh, oh! What a shot! Was that intentional?
Yes.
All right.
It was
I always got to ask.
So yeah, that one was it was intentional because I knew I couldn't hit it too hard and I would get way out of shape on the 8. And yeah, I did that one intentional. I truly hate that bank. That bank is the one that I have the hardest time with. In fact, my girlfriend Michelle, who's a 5 in APA, she makes that bank 3 times more than I do. So
Nice.
I see it. I just am always one side or the other. I suck at it. So the fact I made that, I was just like, oh, thank God. So
That was a great shot. That was
thank
a
you.
great shot. All right, you need 11 points, so that's at least 2 more racks.
Yep.
John needs 23. That's at least 3 more racks.
So I have finally officially taken the lead. Truly. Not just a ball. So finally a good square hit. Got a good little squat on the cue ball, but womp womp.
Yeah, this is where I would you've got a good controlled hit, especially if I think your last 2 breaks have been good square hits like this.
Yeah.
So now I would say let's take that controlled hit and turn it into a cut instead. So that way we can try to guide the 1 ball to the opposite side pocket, unless of course you end up in that one rack where the 1 ball goes on the same side as the cue ball, which which is still hilarious. But John coming out of here with a beautiful
Good
bank
bank.
shot.
Yes.
I wonder if he's going to go for the 2-9 or is he just going to go for the 2?
I think he goes for the 2. Yep.
Nice shot,
But there's the problem with it. It just fell flat.
but that's okay.
He's got
Just
a lot of
clip the
safe
3.
options though.
Yeah, clip the 3 ball, send the cue ball on the other side of the cluster. You're good to go.
Yep.
Just like that.
Beautiful. Great shot. Very good shot.
I mean, I don't want to be a jerk, but I predict that you're going to foul. Just saying.
I remember this shot, so
Look
I'm
at
not
that.
going to say anything.
He's quiet, so that means he found a way to hit it. Maybe. Let's see here. That you got to be coming in between. Yeah, in between the 5 and the 7. So that means okay. So you're going to kick to the short run. You're definitely going to be kicking this with right spin because you got to kill that angle on the outbound angle just to have a shot at hitting the 3 ball.
Or I can't remember if it's just a speed shot because just hitting a little firmer tightens that angle too.
Oh, but do you really want to do that though? Because then you bust the cluster wide open. Is that really what you want to do?
Ultra aggressive. Not intentionally, but
What a shot! Oh, and it turns into a shot. What a shot! Oh my goodness! Holy cow! Okay, I retract my statement. Wow, what a kick!
yes. That's why
Oh
if
my
you look
goodness!
at it, I was even looking at yes, can I hit it? And then does it carom off the 9?
Yeah,
Don't ask me to replicate that one, Chris. I did it in the moment. That's all you need to know.
that was a great shot.
uh,
Hey, we're gonna make the 9 here.
you can't bank it. It's not going to the side or the corner. 9 or the 6 are getting in the way.
You got a good safety looking at what you're looking at here, going around the 9.
Right.
I am surprised though that you're not attempting to make the 9 because it also kind of turns into a safety as well as you send the 5 ball to the other end of the table.
Yeah.
But this is just as good. Always maintaining control of the table on and off the table.
Yeah. I
So this is
wasn't
good.
intending to run into the 8. I was just thinking as much separation as possible. Like, yes, he could see the ball. He's not going to cut it. Force him to take that bank, force him to take the hard shot is really
Yep.
what my thought process was there.
Yep. Couldn't agree more
Oh,
on that. Good
good kick.
kick.
But I
But it
mean,
turns
just
into a
snuck out.
stall. Yep. And that's to this day that's still one of the weakest parts of my game is kick with intention. Um, a lot of times I'm either kicking to hit or I'm kicking to make.
Right.
It's hardly ever that I'm kicking to play safe because I just don't have the skill set to be able to do that.
I don't think it was a video, but I think you did a live stream about that years ago where you had a whole conversation about that. Or
I
it
know
might have been a video.
I did a live stream with Sherivari, and we talked about the 3 different types of safeties that there or no, that was the 3 different types of the 3 different types of safeties that you can play, which is controlling the cue ball because
Hmm.
you're gonna thinly hit the object ball to where it's barely gonna move at all.
Yeah.
So therefore, you just have to maintain control of the cue ball and hide the cue ball. Controlling the object ball because you're gonna play like some sort of stop shot on the cue ball because it automatically hides behind another set of balls, and then the object ball goes around the other side.
Yeah.
And then controlling both. Right, you have to control the cue ball and you have to control the object ball at the same time. And
Right.
when you're kicking to play safe, you're doing that. You have to control the cue ball and the object ball at the same time. Which on a kick shot, that's super difficult to do.
So
You're
I'm having
thinking
to
about
snap
here.
back into it. I just had to take a timeout for my teammate over there. So
Just roll this ball in. There's nothing
yep.
fancy.
I was just
Right?
double checking the angle, making sure I wasn't gonna get too long with it.
I'm curious, is this sharp enough of an angle to where you should go up and down, or are you going to try to just go right up the middle of the table? I can't tell from here.
It looks like it's thin enough that I think it is up and down. I think you are having to go 2 rails for shape kind of thing. Yeah, you can see how much pace I put on it.
What a shot. And see, I used to fall victim to that a whole lot to where like I have a very soft finesse game to
Hmm.
where I would end up trying to one rail that shot and I end up on the other short rail.
Leave yourself
And
on the
then
head. Back now, you got a back cut or back bang, something weird.
yeah,
Yep.
and I've been getting more and more into making sure that I play that extra rail.
Yeah.
That was a great shot.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm willing to bet that was something I learned from you back in the day because I remember you having the comment about if you watch the pros, they don't just soft roll everything, just try to hold the cue ball. Just go ahead and hit hard enough, let the cue ball come off the rail, go 2 rails for shape, and just, you know, I feel like I remember that from I think it was your video. I've watched so many of yours, man. I can't remember them all.
I've got numerous topics
Yeah.
where they're either dedicated to an actual video or they're mentioned somewhere in a live stream.
Yeah. Ooh, look at just snuck out again.
That's game over, right?
That should be right there.
you only need 3 balls and they're right there.
Yep. That one kind of
Ooh.
rolled a little more, but still totally makeable.
You go on the upside of the 7.
Just barely.
You still ran into it. I was wondering if you're going to miss it.
Just barely.
Nicely
And
done.
there we go. 65-25. Definitely came alive on the backside of it, that's for sure. I was pretty happy with this because the last like 3 times I played John, he's beat me in 9-ball every time. So to beat him felt pretty rewarding this time.
To me, it's funny that you said though how you came alive towards the back end of the game, and what were you doing during the back end of the game versus what were you doing at the front end of the game?
Relaxed and rolling the ball.
Holy cow! Right?
Weird how that happens.
But like I said, to be fair for any of the viewers that are watching, like I said, if you find yourself stunning and drawing the majority of your shots, that's going to be a portion of the game that you're really going to want to try to focus and kind of alter a little bit.
Yeah.
I used to play the same exact way. I'm still very accurate at doing it, but a lot of times, more times than not, that is still the type of shot that does end up ruining my runouts or just anything of the sorts. Once I started learning about rolling the cue ball and just maybe using hints of side spin, sometimes a lot of side spin, it just really depends, because now I have to make sure that I land in a cut shot that is thinner than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Because if you're stunning the ball, or then you still have a cut angle. It's just that it's a thick cut angle. And when you want to roll the cue ball with side spin, then you're going to want to get your cut shot to be a little bit thinner, which also means you got to get comfortable at shooting thinner cut shots. And by doing so, you do start to learn rather quickly how much easier it is to control the cue ball when you do that. And even though the shot might be a little bit harder than what you're used to, just like with anything else, the more you practice that shot, the easier it becomes. And then everything just snowballs after that, to where, or snowball kind of indicates it gets worse. No, everything just gets better and better after that.
Absolutely.
So I think I at least witnessed that here in this rack here, because during the middle of it, it's like, why are you stunning? Why are you drawing here? And let's go back, and the next thing you know, in the latter part of the game, just like you said, you started rolling a lot of shots.
Yeah.
You were getting and you were getting the same positions that you had on previous shots, and you were just stringing runs together, and everything just came together at that point. So I would definitely say you implemented what I suggested in this match here.
Not to perfection. I still have a lot to learn for sure, but I did feel like I feel like I listened, and it paid off. It's the best way to put it.
So all you gotta do is keep it up. Like, just keep it up at that point. Know when you can roll the shot, and try to roll the shot to where the next shot is also a roll shot.
Right.
But usually what ends up happening is that either you either land in a rolling shot, or you will land in a stunning or drawing shot. Because if you don't get any of that, now you're banking the ball, or you're playing some sort of safety.
Right.
At that point. So you can try to roll the cue ball to get into a rolling position on the next shot. But if you don't get there, then that most likely means you're going to end up stunning or drawing the ball for the next shot after that. So good job on that one. That was awesome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And John, if you're watching this as well, I hope what you're hearing me say makes sense. I think you shot a magnificent game also. But as I said at the very beginning, it's not like you did anything wrong. There are things that you can do better. And the same type of advice that I'm giving Todd here, I think you can also benefit from as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be talking to you about it, John. I know you're watching. And if you're not watching, I'm sending you the link when we're done. So what do you think? You want to jump into some 8-ball?
Give me a 1 minute break, and I'll be right back.
Perfect.
Welcome back, everybody.
All right. So confirmed John is watching the stream.
Awesome.
He texted me, said, dang, lots to learn. He said, heck yeah, and on the 6-ball billiard, if you look, I've got top left trying to move it or make it either way. 2 goes clear for the 3-ball, or 6 goes and clear for the 2 or 3. So he was
Well, that's awesome then. So if you think about the measuring system that I talked about, where you make the 6-ball more intentional instead of it saying as a backup, I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen.
right.
You'll see, you can actually see how accurate that system is.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of playing, instead of a 2-way being accidental, as if I make the 2, or if I miss the 2, I've got the 6. It was kind of a different type of 2-way per se. But
Awesome.
all right.
That doesn't look like the right video.
That is not the right video. This one
That looks like the right video. Oh, a different angle too.
Yeah, different table.
Okay.
Different table. So got a little better angle on this one.
I was gonna say, John, you hit the heck out of your lag ball there. I could just tell right out of the gate.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking 8-ball now. Completely different strategy. You typically an 8-ball, now you want to have a lot of hold angles if you can help it. That's not to say that sometimes a move angle is going to be necessary. It just depends on the layout of the table.
Yep.
But let's see how you. I want to hear how you break down 8-ball racks in comparison to 9-ball racks.
Okay. So first things first, the way I break, I come just a little bit of low left. I aim at the edge of the 2nd ball to the 3rd ball. That left does cause a little bit of deflection to hit that 2nd ball nice and firm. The idea, obviously, low left, so it comes over to the side rail. Left spins it back out to the middle of the table.
Yep. And
that
usually that gives you a high probability at making the opposite corner ball. And I just saw I'm still watching the stream on YouTube, so there's a bit of a delay, and that's exactly what I saw. The right corner ball went into the pocket.
And looks like
this is APA. So did you
just still APA? But I did make one of each, so it is still open. And I think I like stripes a little bit better. The 9 still goes, and I think I can use that 9 to break open the 15, or try to break it up now.
Okay, table is still open. To me, that's one of the dumbest rules I think that does exist in APA. You're trying to make that stripe, and you make that stripe with intention. But because you dropped another solid, the table still remains open, and now you've officially claimed stripes because you only dropped the stripe. Like, I don't know. That just seems kind of goofy to me, but whatever.
I completely agree, because I get and I prefer it to be open after the break, like BCA, USAPL, but it was
give me the argument why. I always have the same counter argument to this, but why? Why does the table need to be open regardless?
Because how many times do you make 1 or 2 stripes and then you can't see one? You're almost being penalized because you don't make both. Where with the others, as long as you make a ball, you're still at the table and you're still shooting.
Awesome, right? The same argument I always hear. Now, this is a game of skill, though, right? We're supposed to demonstrate our skill, right? You want to show people how good you are, right?
Sure.
So, are you just not skillful enough to handle the harder situation, and so therefore you want to backpedal and take the easier situation? Like, you're supposed to be good, right?
Sure.
So why can't you rise to the occasion and take on the harder situation? Whatever.
Because this is still amateur pool. This is still amateur pool. That's why.
But do you see my point though? Like, like it always makes me laugh when I hear people talk about the reason why. It's like, the solids is so much harder, and that's all that I ran. Well, I mean, aren't you good? Go run the solids because you're so good. Like, especially that's what every 900 Fargo rated viewer always likes to say, like how good you're supposed to be. So it's like, come on.
900 rated viewer. I love that. I I do have a buddy of mine who always says that he's like, I've never missed a ball from my chair.
Exactly, exactly. Trust me, I get it though. Like it's still a valid argument. Like,
Right.
if you make just a solid, and solid is just atrocious to run, and stripes is so much easier. Like,
Yep.
who wouldn't want to do that? Like, I get it. When the emphasis is on winning the rack, I completely get it. But then when you think about it, when for content creation, it's all about demonstration of skill,
Right.
right? So wouldn't you want to be able to show that you can actually run the harder rack? So I don't know. It's like, whatever.
Absolutely. And with all that said, John got to the table one time, and I am now running out. So I left myself a good angle on the 8. Now, APA, you are supposed to mark your pocket. I'm playing a good friend. Fully understand that gentleman's sport, we're good with calling the ball. Call the pocket, I mean.
Nice out.
So 1-0. I'm, as you can see, I am an APA 7. John is a 6 in both. So it's a 5-4 race on this side. Now it is even 4-4 race.
Okay, we didn't really get a chance to talk about that first
The
rack, since we were
actual
talking
rack
about
itself.
the demonstration of skill. So let's try to dive into the second one. I really want to
Absolutely.
get into your head on this as you make a nice smashing break there.
Oh, 10 had to roll up and get funny.
That's okay. Didn't you still make both? 1, 2. The 3 ball's gone.
Yeah, still
Two.
open.
Okay, cool. So break this rack down for me.
Let's just pause this right here. For where I'm at, I mean, first thing I always look at is starting ball. What do I even have to start with? Which with stripes, you've got the 11, you've got the 14, you can combo the 13 11 or 13 9. You've got multiple options there. With the solids, I don't really have much of a great shot, that is, because I can't see the 1 without some kind of triple ball combo, and I'm not doing that. Hard back cut on the 6 to the side or to the top corner. Like there's no real good start for solids.
Okay.
So that's where
I agree.
my mindset immediately is I want to go with stripes.
Okay.
From there, that's where I'm gonna contemplate, where's the trouble? Where's the issue? And obviously in this one, every ball has a home or multiple homes other than the 10 ball. I got to figure out a way to break the 10 open. I don't know I can't quite tell if I've got enough angle where I can shoot the 14 into the right edge of the 5 where the 14 still goes on the side, something tricky like that. So it's really more of a, how do I break it open? So that's where my brain is right from the get-go, right off the break.
Okay. So before you let the video go on, do you remember what you did here?
No.
Okay, so let's let the video go on, and then we're actually going to backtrack. I want to see what the choice is, because I also want to see your demeanor of how you try to break down the table just by watching you walk around on camera.
Yeah,
Okay,
looks like
you already spotted what you needed to spot there.
yeah.
So
Do I have the
let's see
angle
what
on
you
the
do.
11 to stun and break open that 10? And I hit it.
And what did I talk about during the 9-ball match when you stun? What did I talk about? What did I say you could do when you're trying to stun the cue ball?
What can go wrong?
You can actually draw the ball and miss the cluster altogether. You just proved my point.
Yeah.
Right there. You just proved my point. So that probably means that you didn't really have to stun the ball. Maybe more of a center ball.
Yeah.
Because remember, stun is slightly below center.
Right.
Maybe just a center ball, or maybe just a slight rolling ball and kind of punch it. So that way we know we go along that tangent line.
Oh, and look at this.
You just proved my point.
And on top of that, he's going to take stripes away from me. Now that's a jerk move.
Nope. It's not a jerk move, but his start, in my opinion, is just not the greatest. This is
Agreed.
an open. Go back, because John's watching here, so he's got to think about this. So right here, he's got ball in hand. John, you got ball in hand here, and it's an open table. And you already heard us talk about how much trouble that 10 ball is. And you could be dealing with it right now with a mixed combination, playing the 5 into the 10 into the corner pocket. You can just stop the cue ball and you're right in line with the 14 ball. All the trouble balls are gone, and then you might be able to run the table from there.
Right.
So as far as an opener is concerned, I just really don't think starting with the 12 ball is the best option that you could have done there.
Yeah, because it does look like that. Even though there is a gap there, that 5-10 looks like it's all but wired. So, and that is definitely something that I don't see enough APA players do right out of the gate. When they know the table's open, go ahead and play a mixed combination. You don't need to break it out. You don't have to do something with the 14 or something. You don't just shoot the 5-10 combo, and now you're open.
Bang time pool, what you're saying there, I understand what you're getting at, but there's also still discrepancies as to what you're talking about. Because when you say draw is below center, well, if I hit below center, but the cue ball still rolls forward, did I execute a draw shot? So the idea of the stunt being always slightly below center dictates basically the distance between the cue ball and the object ball. And I think at least in the case of what he had with the shot that he tried to be able to play the 11 ball and break out the cluster required a little bit of bottom, like a smidge of bottom spin to turn it into a stunning center sliding cue ball that you're talking about. Because if he would have just hit center cue ball on the particular shot that he was trying to, it probably would have turned into a rolling ball.
Yeah.
So that's where the general idea of stun is typically some amount of below center, because you're trying to get that cue ball to just slide. And I know you know this, to go right into the sliding cue ball part of it, because you still have to take into consideration how far the cue ball has to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the cue ball is more than like 2 or 3 feet away from the object ball and you hit center cue ball, it's not a stun shot. It's going to turn into a rolling shot.
Right.
So that's something that I know what you're getting at with what you're saying here in the chat, but there's still just a little bit more detail to go into that.
And there's something to be said, even if you are trying to hit just a little bit of draw or a little bit of top, if you hit it too hard and the ball's still sliding, it's going to react like a stun more than a draw or more like a follow.
Right.
So anyway, back at it. John's got ball in hand, so we know he takes the 12 here. This is why I hate stun being described by tip position. It's a sliding cue ball. Tip position for that varies by conditions.
Yep. And the average condition, I don't know what it would be like on a matchroom table, because I don't think I think a matchroom table will be completely different. But the average distance would be like close to 10 inches to a foot that you might be able to get the cue ball to slide.
Yeah.
With just a center cue ball hit. If the distance is greater than that, the cue ball will turn into a rolling cue ball by the time it makes it to the object ball.
Yeah. So he took that 9 trying to break the 10 open.
And then now he's putting himself in a losing position.
He is pure recovery mode at this point.
Well, let's let it go on from here, because he should have stopped a long time ago, in my opinion, in order to take the gamble of coming back to the table. And I do say gamble because there is a possibility he might not come back to the table, but he wants to put himself in a position where he has a higher probability of coming back to the table.
Right.
And right now, I don't think he's
Ooh,
decreasing.
I already hate this.
He's decreasing his chances of coming back.
Especially with, he was trying to put a little spin and just miscued it.
Right.
I didn't really like that anyway, because he was going to hit the 10, which is going to, even if it's just gentle, a little amount, you're still moving my 5 closer to the pocket and making it more of a makeable ball for me. So now I have ball in hand. I'm going to go ahead and take that 7 straight top English, so that way I can go ahead and break that 5 open. And
whoops.
Missed it. Missed the plan altogether.
All right, so now John's in this position where he has to wait for you to miss so badly that you're going to give him an opportunity at that 14 ball.
Yeah.
Because you're not giving him an opportunity. What is that? The 10 ball? You're not going to give him an opportunity at that one. So he has to wait for you to give him an opportunity at that 14 ball. All the while, he still has to deal with the 10 ball at the same time. Now, I actually really love that that happened here because now you have full control of the table.
Right. Yeah, I don't like that move.
Yep. You know,
I don't like that move at all because I mean,
there is
yes, I
no
could.
reason
It
to do
looks like
that.
I've got enough gap. I could back bank it, but that 10 ball is going to come in and play. I don't like that idea. That's way too aggressive.
There's only a few counter moves that John's gonna have here, but then you've got one excellent counter move back. And I think he got a little fortunate with that one. Personally, I think he should have cut the 4 ball to the short rail so that way your cue ball goes to the side rail and goes behind the 8, 5, and 10. Like actually to the other side rail.
Oh, okay. My thought process was doing just this,
Mhm.
where I know he's going to swing for something because he's going to at least try to get a good hit
Right, but wouldn't
and
you rather him
incidentally
swing at a
open me up.
kick? Wouldn't you rather him swing at a kick than swing at this?
Possibly.
Because the move that I was talking about is like if I can't do anything productive with my stripe, I'm going to leave it there. So the only move that I'm left with is I'm taking your balls off the table.
Oh, this is stupid.
Oh,
That
so like
was
I would have shot. I probably would have attempted to shoot at a ball that you can use as a break ball and just remove it from the table.
yeah.
And that way I leave those I leave those two that solid and that stripe still clustered up. And you know, with the other balls that you still have on the table, yeah, you can still with ball in hand, you can still use them to try to break them out.
Oh,
But
look at this.
hopefully they're harder. So you get a little lucky. Hopefully they're harder than the one that I took off the table.
Yeah. Way too hard. Still trying to do that. I was trying to do that like you were just saying, where I leave that eight
On the
five
side
blocking
rail.
them.
Yep.
Ooh, punched it too hard though. So now the five's got a home, but I mean, at least he didn't leave me a good opening shot.
Yep.
So there is that. I think right here would be a good time. Just go ahead and hit the 2 ball to the rail, leave the cue ball close to this head rail, and force him to take some kind of wild bank or something, especially with that 8 ball in the pocket. Oh, look at this. Basically something like that.
I can get down with that. That's a good decision. He does have a cut shot though.
Yeah, but he's
You
cutting
know,
right by that 8. If you hit just a
correct.
little too thick,
Correct.
and he played smart. Just, we're trying to move those balls apart. uh, so it looks like I'm going for this one high with some right.
That's fine. I don't see any issues with that.
Because the 5, I think if I remember correct, the 5 goes by the 10 here. So now I'm just going to hit this with some low right and just punch off that side rail and come back up table.
What a shot. Looks like a little too soft though.
Yep.
So do you go for it? Because if you make it, you got a shot at the 8 ball. But if you do miss it, then chances are you sell out.
Okay. So in this position right here, other than leaving the cue ball frozen to the side of the 8, how do you play safe that, like, would you try to leave him a bank?
Well, I mean, in this case here, you can still attempt to cut the ball, but I don't even think that like you can cut it to make it. Like you can't play. I don't think you can play a two-way shot here. In other
Okay.
words, you can't attempt to make it and play safe at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it is reasonable though that you can still cut that ball towards the corner pocket,
Hmm.
and you want the cue ball to hit the short rail like it is, and then come back to the other short rail at the center diamond. Like basically where you're hovering over right now. If the
Yeah.
cue ball was there, it's the same risk of is he going to be able to cut the ball past the 8 without touching it? You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
right? See, so you make the ball, and like I said, even if you wouldn't have made it, like the cue ball's coming back down here,
Yeah.
right? And if you missed, you end up giving him an opportunity. So that was a great shot. Like I said, I don't think there was a way for you. Like, if could you have made the ball there and then still left the cue ball in the center diamond behind the rack area, you'd still would have a shot
Yeah.
at the 8 ball. But I don't think there'd be enough pace in order for you to be able to make
I
the
mean,
four
you'd have to
ball.
get a lot of pace to essentially go three rails,
Yeah,
long table. That'd be a lot.
that was a great shot.
Thank you. Cue ball got a little, like, carry
Still
him like four
solid.
four times in that one.
Hey, this time you're just
Yes,
solids.
just solids. So immediately looking like, okay, what's my? I got that 5, 6, 7, kind not really clumped, but together. So trying to figure out how can I open those up to make this table runnable. So that's why I think I'm starting with the 5. Probably gonna hit it fairly firm to move that 6. Oh, drew it.
Uh-oh.
Now the
You're
6
okay.
might be in trouble.
No, you're okay here. You've got a recovery here that you can do right now with the 4.
Just hold it.
I can't tell if it's makeable. You could certainly bump into it. It must be
It
makeable
must be
if this
makeable,
is
yeah.
the move that you did.
Nope.
Oh, looks like someone's
John,
wobbling the
yeah,
table there.
John and I were sharing the table, so he must have grabbed a drink or something. Getting a little seasick.
So here's a bit of a tester here.
Yeah, I wanted to pull back just a little more so I'm not completely over the 11. Uh, the way I line that up, I must be shooting the 7 off the 12 because I've got a nice little backboard. Help open up the 3 a little bit more, which means I'll just miss that entirely. Why'd you even line it up then?
This is looking good though. This is looking good. This is looking like a break and run.
Well, this is kind of a key transition right here. If I can get it by that 12. Oh no, I shot it up table.
Yep. No, that's
Oh,
that's what I thought you should have done. But
okay.
this is where it gets a little tricky now. I think you have no choice but to just bump the 2 ball in and take a long shot on that 8 to the bottom right, past the. I think that's past the 13 ball.
Yeah, I was thinking I was thinking I was gonna cut it in the side and then just go off this short rail, come back up. No, how
Ah,
about if
see right
I
there. That's why you shouldn't have attempted to do that. Just make the ball, take your medicine, and try to pocket the 8.
Yep. Yeah.
Situations like that come up all the time.
I've said that quite a few times in my videos where you just take your medicine. This is the bed you made,
Oh
just deal
no,
with it.
what happened there?
So when he's over a ball, his bridge hand shakes
Shakes really badly. Okay.
real bad. So he just he just got the shakes and missed it. Looks like I can see the edge of it. So am I?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it on the replay there. Well, that definitely means it was makeable since you
Yeah.
undercut the ball. But now you're in the unfavorable position.
No, I'm in a bad way. Okay, good shot.
This is where I would be focusing on trying to put that 13 ball in a better position rather than making balls, because there's nothing you're doing with that 2 ball. So like
No.
right now, for example, I would probably thin the 11 ball, and so that way the cue ball will billiard into the 8 and the 13 and kind of separate them. You'll be able to see your 2 ball, but you ain't cutting it into the. I think the 9 ball blocks the cut shot. So
Yeah.
unless you do a hail mary multi-rail bank shot, I'm coming back to the table and all of my problems are
Well, I
solved.
was saying even if I pull that two ball multi rail, the 8's still hooked.
Well, no, because his shot would be to break apart the 8 and the 13. So
Oh, 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 gotcha.
the 8 ball might be freed at that point. So like here, like what are you gonna do here? Just multi-rail bank the ball
No, I think I'm trying to put some low just to stun, kind of just hold it behind the 9 as a safe.
as a safety.
Yep. I put, yeah, there's a little bit of low left just so when it hit the rail, kind of spin behind the 9. It ended up bumping the 9 out of the way so he can still see that hanger.
Okay, so
Good shot.
to me, this is a
Oh,
making a ball is always a good thing, but this is still another common thing I see all the time in League 8 ball. There, that 13 ball is going to be probably the main reason why if you get this rack back, it'll be because of that 13 ball.
yeah.
And seeing and trying to deal with it now is hard because the 2 ball is free.
Yeah.
So
As the two ball's not open.
it's difficult now to be able to free the 13 ball. He might can he hold the cue ball behind the 8 here? That's might be what he's looking for, and
And
he
that's
does.
exactly what
Right,
he tried to do.
so there's the sellout. Right, when there was a better option to do that earlier,
Yeah.
where and your 2 ball was still hidden, and then maybe he could have been able to grab the rack from there. I mean, it at least increases his chances. I mean, there's still always the chance of missing, but
Yeah.
let's be realistic here.
But so even on this one, you could just bank or kick off the left side of the 9, just move the 9 gently towards that pocket, even if it blocks the 2 a little bit. Force me to brings the cue ball over to this long rail near the camera, and then what am I going to do with that 2 ball? I can't really bank it to the side. The 15's in the way. I'm gonna try a really hard back cut and then miracle break open the 8. I mean, that's really not going to be the case. So I would have done something more on that end versus try to. Now I understand his method because he was trying to open up his 13 and hook me.
Yep.
It just unfortunately had a smidge too much oomph on it, which I mean, it didn't even look like he hit it that hard. It just rolled. It just kept on going, just that little bit.
Now, are you going to come with a big boy shot here?
I'm willing to bet. This is not a rolling ball. I have a feeling.
What a shot!
Pretty okay.
The shot's a little bit harder on a 9 foot table. Just saying.
I'm a bar box guy, man. I'm
That-
standing in at 5'4". I can't even see the full side of a 9. I actually really want to get more 9-foot time, not just for my game, but I want to expand into different games. I want to get into playing straight pool more. I want to get playing one pocket more. I want to get into even like the amateur pro or amateur pool championships that APA does. Those are all
Yeah.
9-foot. I want to get into that format, but I spend too much time on a bar box, 3 nights a week league, and then tournaments on weekends are always bar box. So gotta make the time.
Finally, a
Gotta
dry
make the
break.
time. I think that was.
Ugh, 'cause my hair is getting all messed up with my headphones.
So he is going for the one, gonna back cut it. Okay, 11 held it so you can see the 4, but I don't know if I would swing at that yet, just because I mean that's kind of an insurance ball. I think I don't know if he's shooting the 3 or if he's going for the 5 here. Oh, he was dead straight on the 5.
So can we go back to the first shot here? There's an important demeanor here that I want to point out, and I'm only judging based off of what I see here that's happening.
Sure.
So back him out of the camera, like we want to see the ending movement of the break, because we want to see his approach to the table.
So right here, hit play.
Yeah. All right. So he goes and grabs his
There's
cue.
his
I think.
cue.
Yep. Comes to the table. Okay, and immediately gets down and shoots at the one. Now, I'm not saying shooting the one is a bad shot or the wrong shot, but just think about the decision that's going to happen next here. Okay, we made the one, bump into the 11. That all might be intentional. Okay, now what? Well, as far as I can tell, he's looking at the five because we saw that he shot it, and
But
then I'm
what was
assuming
the intent? What was the result you're looking
right,
for?
and I'm assuming this is the intention. And now look what's happening. We're figuring it out. One ball at a time, we're figuring it out. And in
Yeah,
8 ball, this is generally a strategy that you just really don't want to do because, as far as I can tell, you're making balls for the sake of these are balls that could be made.
yeah,
Right. So now, like I'm guessing here that he's going to end up playing safe.
should.
Whereas should he have made the 5 ball? I mean, maybe not. Should he have maybe tried to get a better position on like he's playing the one? I think regardless, right? I think that's a given.
Yeah,
But then the amount of attention that he's going to try to put into getting position on either that 5 or the 3, I can't tell if the 3 ball was makeable or not. So that way, maybe he could have done something different than here. But now the well, no, see, he's still going
oh,
for it, right? That's a great shot. And so now,
okay.
is he going to be able to do something with the 7 ball? But what I'm not going to be convinced of, I think this is fair. That 3 ball run out was not planned from the get go. It came out on the fly. Right.
I'd be willing to agree.
All of this is coming out on the fly.
Yes.
And if it works, then by all means it works. But typically, I would just not think this is a way that you would want to approach an 8 ball rack. Typically.
Yeah, because now he's got a fairly thin cut to back cut that 4.
Right? Clearly can't take away from the bank shot and everything else that he
That was
got
a
up to
great
this.
shot.
And if he would have kept on going, that's still all well and good. But then let's start back over from the 1 ball. And is the run out that he created how 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 much can he repeat it? Because that just looked like a super difficult table to even attempt to run. I don't know how. I truly don't know how many people would even attempt to run it
Right.
with solids. Because I mean, after he made that bank shot, the table was runnable. It was difficult,
Yeah.
but it was runnable.
Yeah, you cut that 2. I think a natural running ball was going to break open that 7.
I like what you're doing here. We're about to minimize the cue ball movement.
Yep.
It's going to be 9, 10, 12, 13, 8, 9.
Yeah, just a little angle, so it slid out, but yeah, should be just a rolling ball here for the 12.
Yeah, but are you going to run into the 13? Well, you
No, I
missed
am
it.
going to split them perfectly.
Yeah, but that made things harder though. Now you're gonna duck and play safe.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Maybe a little more to get tighter on the 12 because I think you can see the edge of the 4.
Well, see, no, let's go back a couple of shots. This is kind of the same principle, even in 9 ball.
Where
To
where
where
to?
go back some more, go back some more. Right up. Go ahead and let it play from here. Right, because this looks good.
Yeah.
0 cue ball movement, and then this looks good. Yeah, I think you just rolled the ball past so that way you don't have to bridge over
Like
the.
I think I pulled back a little if I remember correct. Yeah, just a
Oh,
little
okay, so
breathing
that
room off the 4.
right, but still 0 cue ball movement,
Yeah.
and then this was good. Because where was the mistake? It wasn't the execution of the transition from the 10 to the next ball. It's this shot right
Yeah,
here.
say this
This is
one.
this is the shot that you should have paid more attention to on how you want to get position on that 10 ball
Yeah,
in order to get to your last 2 balls.
because it does have that slight bit of angle, so the cue ball had to move into the middle, a little more center table, and that's what got me out of shape.
Yep. Maybe on this one you probably did want to draw back just a little bit more than what you did.
Yeah.
There that like you just barely drew it back. Maybe you want to draw it back a
Like
little bit more.
intentionally pull back.
Yeah. Because now here, this is probably to your benefit that maybe you run into your 12,
Yeah.
right? Because then you're probably almost guaranteed a shot at
Hmm.
your 13 ball.
Yeah. I agree. But instead,
But this is a good duck and cover.
at least if nothing else, he's shooting at the farthest ball. So
Well, I mean, I hope he can't see it because your balls are at one end of the table. If
yeah,
all he has to do is clip that 4 ball and leave the cue ball at the other end of the table,
leave it
that
alone.
doesn't help you. That doesn't help you any.
Right. I'm assuming he can because the way he's not even looking at it. So he's
Yeah, looks like you might have covered him pretty good there, so that's
okay.
good. Oh no, are you kidding me? All right.
Did not deserve that one.
Nope.
Or in Color of Money, where I didn't deserve that. Yes, you did.
Yes,
Yes,
you
you did.
did.
So the 12 really only goes there. So I'm just gonna draw back, give myself look at the 13. Just double check and see what it does. Where's the A ball go? Where do I want to shoot it?
Should be in the same corner pocket, I would think. Cue ball's going to naturally go, could naturally go around it. Maybe a touch of outside spin. You got to hit the damn ball. what,
You gotta stroke it.
About?
You gotta stroke it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Because I mean, there's no cut here. I'm kicking at it or something. Or I mean, with the way his balls are placed, this is gonna be even hard to play safe. Because I think I'm trying to skin it and then still leave it behind the 8.
I would just put the cue ball on the short rail.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
shot. Good roll.
So far, so good.
Got on the right side of the tangent line. Good pull. Okay.
Okay, here's a rolling shot. You don't have to do anything special. Just don't underhit it.
Why does that happen?
Nicely done,
And
John. Good run out on that one.
John, for the first time in the night, gets to break.
What kind of breaking style do we see from this guy?
I'll tell you what, man. This guy's got old man strength. He can crack him when he wants.
Oh, but not with a second ball break. A second ball break is a finesse break. It's not a power break. And that's why it's not a power break. That cue ball can clearly fly off the table.
Yep.
You're gonna do a power break, you hit the head ball.
Dry break, though.
It is.
Okay, so now we're back to what are my options? What do we do here? Like, I can start with the 3 or the 15. Looks like I'm making a snap decision on solids, probably because of the 13, I would assume. Ooh, I pulled that back too much. I think I was trying to pull back just to hold for that 5 into this pocket.
Yep, I would agree.
Underdid it, or overdid, excuse me. Overpulled it. So we're already in recovery mode. Going to shoot the 7, it looks like. Might have an angle. I might be able to roll forward and move that 13 out of the one's way. No, we're going to hit the... Okay, interesting.
So let's back up because
Yeah,
I just want to just leave this idea here just so people can hopefully understand the reasoning.
Right here or go back more?
No, right here. because you said so yourself that you're trying to get on the 5 ball and you missed at it.
Yep.
So right now, when we look at the table, the only ball that grants you access again to that 5 ball is most likely going to be the 6 ball, right? And now, but you're there is no ball, or it's very difficult to get that type of position again to shoot the 5 ball into the corner pocket like you originally indicated.
Yeah.
The 6 ball at least might be able to grant you position to be able to shoot the 5 ball into the side pocket, maybe. But that requires you to deal with the 2, 7, and the 1 and the 4 and everything else. And we already saw that even though we made the 2 ball, we kind of blundered because it didn't look like we ended up with a shot afterwards.
Right.
So this is where if you can factor all that in quick enough, right? Because that's the other thing. Like, how much thought do you have to put in at the table? You don't want to put in too much thought because you don't want to be penalized for slow play. But sometimes you got to think about these types of strategies so that way you can think about them a little bit quicker.
Right.
Because this table is a mess and that 5 ball really is your biggest problem ball, I really wouldn't think of it to be a bad idea to hit the 5 ball or cut the 5 ball in such a way to where it's gonna separate from that 11 ball, and then your cue ball is gonna head towards the long rail that's right above, like literally that's right above us. You basically kind of want to spin it behind the 9 ball because all of John's balls are up table. So as long as you have him
Oh, I see what
shooting,
you're saying.
as long as you have him shooting up table, provided of course that he misses, all your balls are now at least out in the open.
Yeah.
And especially your 5 ball is hopefully at least solved, or it's more accessible now because it's not surrounded by the 2 stripes. Right. So this is something that I also noticed that just a lot of players just don't think about because they look at what ball can I play, or is there a way for me to try to duck the cue ball?
Hmm.
Well, right now we're in a position where I don't really think it's necessary that you have to duck the cue ball when you take into consideration who your opponent is. And I don't mean that as an insult, John. What I'm
Yeah.
talking about is like when you look at the layout of the table, almost regardless of who your opponent is at an APA level, unless we're talking about like a really highly rated player, what are the odds of getting of running the table? Probably not a lot. Right. So you give John a free shot, but you free your 5 ball up at the same time. So that way, hopefully you have less problems to deal with
Yeah.
if and when you come back to the table. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And John, when he says higher level players, he's not talking about me. He's talking way above me. Yeah, I hit that 13 real flat. It just killed the cue ball. Left me with
That
a whole
was
lot of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, even if you would have made the 2 ball and got position on the 4, the 1 and the 7 are just super tough.
Yeah. So the 1 ball doesn't bank. There's no makeable shot from here. Now I'm going into chess mode and try to figure out where am I going to leave him that's as ugly as possible, and how do I get there?
Well, it doesn't see that's another thing. Like it doesn't always have to be as ugly as possible. Sometimes you need them to do something for you, right? So you put them in a position where you try to bait them into taking the shot that you want. Like we really need that 11 ball to move,
Right.
and then that helps us out a lot. So putting the cue ball here, I think is a good decision.
Yeah.
The question is does John take the bait?
Well, and that's just like a couple racks ago when we had that 5-10 kissing cousins up in there and not wanting to leave each other. That's why I kept putting him in spots, forcing him to hit that 10. 'Cause
Right.
I was trying to force his hand to open up my ball.
Okay.
And
So
he played that one
now our
smart.
5 ball is a little bit more accessible, even though it's currently blocked by the 9 ball.
Yeah. Still has multiple pockets, just not the closest necessarily.
Yep.
Closest corner, at least.
Ooh, I don't think we rolled far enough on that one, John. The next shot I think should have been the 9 ball,
Yeah.
and then that way you can come around and be underneath the 6 ball to shoot at either of these 2 stripes, which looks like the 14 or the 12.
Oh.
There we go. We can further lock the 5 ball away from being able to go into that pocket. You still only have to use the 6 ball to be able to maybe get position for the side pocket or to be
Yeah.
able to bank it now. Now that it's more open. Yeah. See, there you go. I like this. I like prepping to see where can that 5 ball go. But how do you get down there?
Right. Ideally, 6 ball would be a good lead, but even that, you got to get on the almost dead center table. So no, I'm starting with the 6 now.
No, this is good. But we missed.
Yep.
That's okay. I mean, it happens, right? If you had made it, you at least have a shot at the 5 to go into the side.
Right. Oh, just a little undercut. And the only ball that's going to be a little tricky to get shape, he gave it to me right there, I think.
Well, I mean, you have to take your if you're going to run the table here, you have to start with the 4.
Yes. Use the
Like
10
that.
to stop it so I can shoot the 7 up table.
It would roll all the way down for that 5 or the 6. The 1 ball is your key ball for the 8 and the side, I think.
Ooh, a little more. That'll
I think
play.
that I think this is fine. I think you do 6-5-1-8 and you're
Yep.
golden.
So even like this shot right here, I kind of chuckled to myself. Just that little bit of outside spin just to kind of hold it. Just like that.
Nice. Now, it looks like you do have to bring the side rail into play here. No, are you going to
I
draw
think
it?
I think I'm just straight stop shot. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't. The camera angle doesn't look like it was that straight into
Right.
me.
Yeah. Gotta
But
love camera angles.
are you able to hold for the 8?
Yeah,
Oh, what a shot!
I
What a
usually
shot!
put a little bit of inside, try to check up that speed.
Nicely
There we
done.
go. 4-1.
Oh, I like your on the hill prompt there.
That's something I started recently on last couple videos. Because I was doing like a big graphic up top for break and run or whatever. Now I think I'm just going to keep it right here by the name. Just a little prompt so you kind of know what's going on.
8 on the break.
I'm not Lil Chris, man. That is not a shot I have in my repertoire, but I
Look
will
at that
take
8.
it if
Look
it
at that 8.
goes. It kind of hinted at. I put a
Almost.
little bit more stank on it.
Almost.
Unfortunately, dry break though. And not a pretty table, that's for sure. Oh, good shot with some good
The
draw.
action. Yeah, the good action on that cue ball there.
Yeah. I don't think he can make the 15. I think the 1 ball might come into play there. So is he gonna have to shoot the 14?
Well, that's what I was wondering. If the 14's makeable, he can bust the whole table open at that point. The cue ball is
Yeah.
definitely going to run into the 10 ball. The 10 ball is going to run into the 312 cluster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's shooting the 9.
All right, good shot and all, but now the
Yeah,
run's
but
over.
now he's in a world of hurt because what are you gonna do after that? You put that 1 ball there. Now you've got a
See,
wall of solids.
this is where I would emphasize the point of I want to make sure I say this right. Like, don't play safe because you have to. Play safe because you chose to lead up to that point. which means everything you're doing is planned out. So he's in a position where he has to play safe.
Absolutely.
Or I mean, I don't know. Maybe he can make the 11 ball, but then after that, like then what? Right?
Yeah.
He's going to force himself to be in a position eventually to where he has to play safe versus trying to come up with a some sort of plan to where he leads into a safety.
Yeah. Looks like he's still going for it though. Look high, trying to spin into the rack. Yep.
Yeah, just trying to ask for a whole lot,
Yep.
right? And think about it. Like I said,
Shooting for a miracle.
the more complex that you're trying to make because if he would have just made the ball, he would have just made the ball. But then the run's over. He has to play safe. But he's trying to make something happen, which means he's complexing the shot, and he complexes it to a point to where he just ends up missing the shot. And so
I'm gonna clip that right there, and I'm gonna play that for John all the time. That
right?
phrase.
It's so hard to find that balance between making sure that you can accomplish both, right? Because that's really what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, he got lucky with the result, left me where I mean, I'm basically frozen at the 6, but other than that, I got to kick at the 7 just to make a
Correct.
legal hit, and I completely shank it.
Dang. I, isn't there like this one rail kicking system that that some guy taught on YouTube that
I don't know. Never heard of it.
I mean, I think I seen you do it like on every freaking video. I don't know why.
And I give you
didn't do
credit
it
on
there.
every single video, and I put you in anytime I mention it, it's in my the description.
And then
And what do I
that
do?
one there, you try to eyeball it.
I got this. It's fine, man. Everything's gonna be fine. I think the video kind of glitched on there, or he just shot that at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh, let's see here. That 15 ball is just so juicy but dangerous at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah, even if he would have made that with the position that he's got, like it's the same thing. The run's over,
yeah,
right? He can't make the 11 ball and develop the two stripes there, which looks like the 14 and the 10. Or that is the 11 ball.
yeah.
So
It's 11.
where he's at now, or where he was, if he would have, the 11 ball looks like he has the angle to try to break up the 14 and the 10, but there's just no guarantee that you're gonna have a shot. And here you go being a jerk again.
It's a compliment to a pool player, man. Because yeah, he can see the edge of the 14. I don't think he can hit it thick enough to make it. So, oh, so I just noticed that, and I'm gonna talk to John here. If you watch, because like I said, when he has to hike up, his bridge really gets the shakes, and look how much when he hikes up here, his bridge really starts shaking. But then when he closed bridged, it tightened up, and I'm 90% sure that was a bad hit.
Replay that.
See, you can see how much his bridge.
The first thing I saw was the ball dropped. I didn't pay attention to anything else.
The four moves, which it moves towards that 11. And it's behind the 14. Yeah, because he's going straight at it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That was a foul, but did anybody notice it?
I didn't have it watched, and I don't remember, to be honest, if I saw it or if I noticed it at the time. Because if I think it is, John's an honest guy. If I say, John, was that a bad hit? He'll be like, if it is, take it, and he'll give ball in hand. He has no problem with it, but
it's
but
easy
I think
to
he just fouled without noticing.
Yeah, it's easy to criticize after the fact when we're sitting there and we can watch a replay over and over
right.
again. But in the heat of the moment, sometimes those are just hard to catch.
Yep. And And I get what
But
I get asked to watch a lot of shots, so I don't necessarily always look at the connection. I think of where the balls are supposed to go
yeah,
versus if they were bad, where are they going to go? Like in that one, for that 4 to go up at an angle towards that 11, he had to hit it first
I'm actually just surprised that the cue ball can billiard off of the 4 and still make his strike.
and
Though
still made it.
you think like because he's trying to intentionally just hit the correct spot,
Mhm.
and he accidentally hits the correct spot off of a billiard.
Right?
But John, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about here, where you're really just putting yourself in an unfavorable position to be able to even win the rack.
Oh, good try though. That was a real good try.
Right. So when you look at this table, you look at the position of your two stripes here. Like Todd is in a very favorable position here. He's got a wall of balls that he can hide the cue ball behind to where you can't see your two stripes because you're in a position where you have to wait for him to miss so badly. And sometimes it's a good gamble to take. Sometimes it is, but you have to hope that he gives you an opportunity to be able to play one of your stripes, which means you're now relying on luck. And in a game like this, though it's good to have luck on your side, I just don't think it's something that you want to rely on.
Agreed.
Now I'm curious if that 11 ball is going to drop a kick billiard. I haven't even seen this before, and how did I know that was going to happen?
Who's this guy?
What a shot, John!
Holy cow.
Now, do you have enough finesse to be able to like throw the ball into the side pocket so that way you can hold for the 8 in the opposite
Yeah,
side?
so I don't
Or
it looks like it's a little bit of a cut. I don't know if he can just slow roll it. Too hard.
yep, too
Knew
hard.
it. Knew it immediately.
At that point, that means you just go with it. You're supposed to go to the end. You're supposed to go to the end rail and come back up to the end to the middle of the table and shoot the 8 ball in the same pocket.
Yep.
What? Is there a
Did
valley
he
can
call on the
fit through?
side?
No, he called the corner. He's going
Oh, he
in
called the
between the
corner.
5 and the 6. The 7 ball prevents him from scratching, so he can really just focus on just shooting the ball.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to complicate things. Just a nice center ball. Focus on the aim, and just try to hit that bullseye.
And just barely
good
glanced the
try.
6.
Good try. Good try.
Put the 8 in a precarious spot for me though, because now I gotta work some magic for all the other balls that want to go in that pocket.
That was almost a good move. Actually, that worked out nicely. The 5 ball is accessible now.
Yeah.
3 balls. The 3 ball is questionable. Let's see what you do here. I like
So it
it.
should be. Ooh, slow down. Yeah, I was trying to hold it back there for the 6.
Ooh, this is getting interesting. Let's see how you piece it apart.
With rolling balls, man.
Hey, that looks good. But I wish the ball would have rolled a little bit farther, just a little bit. Because notice how you couldn't bump into the 3.
Yeah.
If you were just a little bit on the other side, you bump the 3 so it's closer to the long rail and you can go past the 8 ball into the corner pocket. Because now, do we have to get that angle for the 3 in the side as well?
Looks like 3 goes all the way down too, though.
Oh, does it? Then never mind. If that's the case, never mind. This is good. I couldn't tell whether or not if the 3 ball passes by the 2 ball. If it does, then this is golden.
Yeah, because the 2's on the rail.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, hold on. I can still mess this up.
Anything's possible. Where can things go wrong? You can miss every shot.
Miss every shot. Like that. I
Like
tried to
that.
miss that. I tried to miss that.
You did try to miss that. Holy cow.
It sure looked like it. Goodness.
Nicely
And
done.
there we go. 5-1, 17 innings. I don't count safe, so that's just way too much data to try to keep up with on my graphics. But still, I felt really good about it. I think it was a great night overall. Uh, obviously, many thanks to you, Chris. The coaching you gave me really built me up, gave me a ton of tools, gave me a lot of confidence, and allowed me to beat up on my friend. And that was really the best part of it, right, John?
Well, I'd be curious to know, because it is always questionable whether or not if the APA skill level is transferable across the country, meaning that is a 6 here in Texas equivalent to a 6 in Kansas, and so on and so forth. Right? You're in the Kansas area, correct?
Kansas, yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the border, but yeah, I'm on the Kansas side.
Right. So what I couldn't help but notice, if you notice most of my comments, that I was saying this is what I typically see
Yeah,
from these skill levels, and the only base that I have to go off of are the players that I have around here in Texas.
right.
So at least according to what I've seen here so far, it does appear that most of these skill levels might be transferable, because I just saw the same type of mistakes to where their balls are being made just because they can be made. You're playing safe because you have to play safe, and instead of trying to manipulate the layout to where you can choose to play safe because that was part of your plan.
Sure.
And so on and so forth. And when you're playing balls just to make balls, now you're putting yourself in an unfavorable position where you have to rely on your opponent to miss so badly to be like. I just keep seeing the same things over and over again. Right. So there's a nice foundational strategy that I think 8 Ball can have, to where you have to determine if you can run the table regardless of what it looks like. And when you before you even start shooting, the moment you say, "Nah, this ain't happening," well, then okay, cool. What is your plan on when you're going to stop? Not, I'm going to stop because I have to stop,
Right.
because I've done all that I can. If that is the way that you try to break down a Rex, I just don't think that's a favorable strategy
Right.
to have.
I mean, you've been to Vegas quite a few times for APA. I'm sure you've seen.
Twice. I've
Oh,
only been
that's
there
it.
twice. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Once for a team, it took me 3 years to get my team fully together to where we actually qualified.
Yeah.
I've had extra shots, like I've been to Tri Cups, or I mean, I'm sorry, I've been to World Qualifiers multiple times,
Sure.
but then sometimes just fall a little short.
Hmm.
But I did finally take a team there once. It was during the pandemic time frame, and we
Mm.
got so screwed because when we qualified, it wasn't until 2 years later that we went to
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yep.
And so, what do you think happens in 2 years of gameplay? My players go up,
Yeah.
and I can't play. I went to
Ugh.
Vegas. I went to Vegas as a coach,
Oh, that
and
sucks.
my team did the best that they could. I was super proud of what they did, but that was the end of it. And I warned my league director at the time, what am I going to do when this happens? Like,
Yeah.
we have multiple playable rosters with our current skill levels. 2 years later, I can't even begin to imagine, unless you want me to sandbag and blah, like all the stuff that we're
Yeah.
not supposed to do. But right, my players don't sandbag. I don't even encourage my players to
No.
sandbag at all. But
I
truth be
threaten my teammates all the time. If I believe you're truly sandbagging, I'll kick you off the team. I'm not gonna have
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen around me.
And what ended up happening is my players went up, and we ended up going to a Vegas to where there was no roster
Oh
whatsoever
man.
that allowed me to play whatsoever. And then the second time I went to Vegas was for 8 Ball Scotch doubles.
Yeah.
I played in a straight to Vegas tournament
Yeah.
with my Scotch doubles partner, who was also one of my teammates at the time.
Yeah.
And because of my tutelage as well, we kind of got screwed, but we still did the best, meaning that when we played together, we were a 7-3 pair.
Yeah.
When we went to Vegas, as a 7-4 pair, because
Okay.
he went
Yeah.
up before we went to Vegas, and that kind of made things a little bit more difficult, because we had to win extra games than before, but we still did well enough to play in the money. But
Yeah.
every person that has played on the same team as me, these are the same type of strategies that I
Mhm.
always play for. And a lot of times when I'm watching other people play, I can usually, with a high degree of certainty, tell you when the turn is about to be over
Mhm.
because of the way that I see the patterns that the players are playing out. And like I said, more times than not, when it's they're going to end up playing safe because they have to, not
Right.
because they chose to. So I hope all that makes sense to the viewers out there watching. John, if you see if you happen to watch this, I hope what I'm saying here makes sense. Considering the conditions that you have to shoot under with those shakes, I still think I mean you got a great game, but then that also means that now maybe we need to massage the strategy a little bit.
Yeah.
And by massaging your strategy a little bit, that's going to give you more tools than any other player that you're going to have. And that's usually what it takes. If you've got players, if two players that are playing against each other basically shoot at the same, shot make percentage, well, the only thing that's going to separate y'all is strategy. And whoever's got the better strategy typically can be the one that comes out on top.
Yeah, you don't want to play someone equal and then hope for the better luck of the day,
Correct.
or who's just a little
Who
more on today or a little more in stroke. You don't want to play
yeah.
that. Like,
Or who makes more mistakes. Like you don't want
right.
the that's the game that you don't want is win because your opponent made more mistakes when typically y'all play even.
Yep. I agree. I completely agree. So, well, I think that's pretty good. That was almost 3 hours. That was a
That
ton of
sounds about
fun,
right.
man.
That sounds right. When I usually review two of my matches in the amount of detail that I've made you do that I made you do your matches in,
Yeah.
that's typically 3 hours. If it was just straight live commentary, we probably would have been done in half the time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Uh is it Loping CSF?
Hoping CSF, that's one of my followers. Good to see
Yeah.
you, man.
Well, he said he's heading out, but he enjoyed the stream. Gonna make point to check on my channel. Well, hey, I appreciate you at least learning about it. Thank you to Chris for introducing me to some more people, and I hope you enjoy it. So, but as always, man, thank you so much for everything you've done, and this has been a ton of fun, ton of knowledge. I know John and I are going to talk about this for probably the next 2, maybe even 3 months.
I would me personally, I would be very curious to know what does John agree and disagree with. I mean, I'm not trying to give any type of advice or criticism to say that I'm right.
No,
I'm
no,
just I'm just saying like these are the strategies that I've typically played with and that I've also learned myself
yeah,
through my own coaching, through my own trials and tribulations. And by no means are they still like the most optimal strategy. I might still be missing a couple of things because
hmm,
we're all here to learn and we're all here to grow. So it's one of those things to where like when I see my strategy or the strategies that I use aren't being used by others, that's going to be like an instant way to up your game
right,
by being able to massage the strategy that you play it, especially within the skill set of your shot making ability.
right. But even with that said, I mean, we're having to critique and review videos from a different camera angle. We're not
Yep.
down on the shot. We're not looking down the pipe. It is different from up here because multiple times even Chris said, I didn't think you had a straight shot. And well, the camera angle plays tricks on us, and it is very different. That is one of the first things I learned on this journey of getting into YouTube and recording myself. So it's been a ton of fun. So anyway, with that, I think that's a good place to end. Thank you guys. It looks like still got a handful of people in the chat. I appreciate every one of you guys for checking it out. If you haven't already, please do me a big favor, subscribe, give me a thumbs up on the stream, and hope you guys watch some of my videos and get in the comments. Tell me everything you like, things I could be doing different and better, because I'm 100% down here to learn. And maybe if I can teach you guys something even better. Lord knows I'm not going to teach Chris. This guy's he's brilliant.
even
But
even even I've had moments where quote unquote lower skill level players can still grant knowledge even to higher ranking skill level players.
absolutely.
You just never know. You just never know.
Absolutely. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, but keep an eye on the channel. I got some more videos coming for you, and hopefully my commentary gets better with my game. And until then, thanks as always. I'll see you guys around.